so I can apologize.
Yes.
Recording. And yeah, well said. Thank you. We all accept. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but
Well, I accept because I
yes.
know truth is progressive. As we continue to study things that we might have hold as truth, no longer hold of truth, and that's fine. You know, that's all part of growing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
go
And I
ahead.
want to thank you because I know what it is to repent of seeing things differently before when the Father opens something new.
Yeah. There has to be sincerity when behind the saying of reserving the right to be wrong. And I mean that so sincerely to you guys.
Hallelujah for that.
Yeah.
What I would like to say is, you know, this is the truth as I see it right now, but it can change later.
Yeah. So this presentation is a compilation of the research and studies from many people who I've had the blessed opportunity to walk with and journey with. A few people's names that come to my mind are Jeremy and Miranda and Natalie and Adrian and Charlie and Dustin Hoffman. Even people's videos that like I've watched along the way, like Nick Vanderland, the efforts of Faith Child about the equinox. There's so many other people though that I just cannot remember, and I don't mean that in like a way to exclude them, but just those are the names off the top of my head that really put in diligence into what is in this presentation today. Okay, so I gotta share my screen. Okay. Okay, so this is like the most comprehensive compilation of evidence that I could put together thus far. It's probably about 20 hours of work into this presentation, so it's pretty long. And with that being said, please take out your notepads or the notepad on your phone. And if you have questions throughout this, please write your questions down, because I want to answer questions at the end and discuss things. However, this is such a vast amount of information that if only I could download it into your brains all at the same time, I would. But chances are, if I make a point, like the first point that I make is going to be connected and relevant to the 10th point that I make. But by the third point, you might think of what that 10th point is going to be and then want to ask the question about it, not knowing that I'm going to address it anyways. So that's why I say, like, please write your questions down, because you may find that you're crossing them off as I go along in the presentation. And then at the end, any questions that you have written down that is left that I didn't speak about or shed light on, then I want you guys to ask it. There should be no stone unturned. I think that this presentation answers a lot of the like main components of calendar understanding, how to reckon our days, how to know that we're showing up on time, and a lot of the things that have been debated in this community will be straightened out here, no pun intended. All right, Natalie and I named this Yah's luminary calendar because on the fourth day of the week, the sun, moon, and stars were created, and those are Yah's timepiece in the sky. And so they are the keepers of time. Our current understanding of Yah's calendar has been rooted in the pattern of Creation Week and its annual renewal. Before the days were numbered, before light was spoken into existence, there was the void day of darkness, a moment often overlooked but deeply significant. The Book of Melchizedek invites us to look more closely at the beginning, offering insight into what lies between the lines of Genesis 1 through 2, not to replace the text, but to illuminate what has long remained hidden in plain sight. And so the next slides are going to be screenshots from the YouTube video where somebody is reading the Book of Melchizedek. And if you guys end up wanting the link to that, I can put that in the chat when we're done. This is the beginning of the book. Before there was a star to shine, before there were angels singing, had a heaven, the home of the eternal, the only God, perfect wisdom, love, and glory, the eternal lived an eternity before achieving his beautiful dream, the creation of the universe. The countless beings that comprised the creation were all conceived with great affection. Since the inner atom to gigantic galaxies, all deserved his supreme regard. Music lover, Yahweh conceived the universe as a great orchestra. Under his rule should vibrate harmonious chords of justice and peace. For every creature, he has composed a love song. The Lord was very happy because his dreams were to be realized. Moving himself with majesty, began his work of creation. Your hands shaped primarily a world of light, and on it a mountain blazing over which would forever be executed, the throne of the universe. The sacred mountain called Yahweh, from Zion, base of the throne, the Eternal did squirt a crystal clear river to represent the life of him would flow to all creatures. As the throne room created a beautiful paradise that stretched for hundreds of miles around the Mount Zion called the Paradise Eden. South of heaven, on both banks of the river of life, were built many mansions, adorned with precious stones, which were intended for the angels, the ministers of the kingdom of light. Circling Eden, and angelic mansions built a wall of Yahweh jasper lampposts, along which could be seen large pearls. With joy beheld the eternal capital dreamed. The city in its splendor was adorned like a bride ready to receive her husband. Affectionately called it the great architect, Jerusalem, city of peace, God was to bring into existence the first rational creature. It would be a glorious angel, the most honorable of all. Hold on one second.
Marty wants to know if we still want him to put that hose bim in the front. He said it would be an extra $100, but he has it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. Adorned by the brilliance of gemstones, this angel live on Mount Zion as the representative of the King of Kings before the universe. Much loved, the Creator began to model the firstborn of the angels, all wisdom applied to form it, making it perfect. Tenderly granted him life, the beautiful angel, like that awakening from a deep sleep, opened his eyes and beheld the face of his Maker. With joy, the Eternal showed him the beauties of heaven, telling him of his plans which were beginning to materialize. To be led to the place of his abode, to the throne, the prince of the angels was grateful, and with melodious voice sang his first song of praise. From the heights of Zion unraveled itself in the eyes of beautiful angel, Jerusalem in its vastness and splendor. The river of life, the serene glide through the city, resembled a broad avenue, mirroring the beauty of the Garden of Eden and the angelic mansions. So in these opening pages, we witness the awe-inspiring creation of Yahweh's throne room, a place not made by human hands, but formed in divine glory and eternal light. It is here that the foundations of divine authority are laid and the order of heaven is established. The throne room stands as the center of all creation, where justice, wisdom, and holiness flow outward from. This sacred space reflects Yahweh's sovereignty and sets the stage for all that is to come. Following the creation of Yahweh's throne room, the narrative shifts as a spirit of pride and envy begins to stir in the heart of Lucifer. Once a radiant being of high rank among the heavenly hosts, Lucifer becomes consumed with jealousy over the glory and authority of Yahweh's throne. Instead of honoring the divine order, he covets the throne for himself, desiring the worship and dominion that belong to Yahweh alone. This rebellion marks the beginning of cosmic conflict, a fracture in the harmony of heaven. Lucifer's fall is not just a personal downfall, but the origin of spiritual opposition to divine rule, setting the stage for the battle between light and darkness, obedience and pride. In Isaiah 14 we read, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Before suffering the eternal expressed in the sadness of his countenance, the faithful could finally understand the meaning of that mysterious abyss, consisted of a symbolic representation of the kingdom of rebellion. In saddened face of Yahweh manifested finally a glow that the faithful cheered. Raising his powerful arms against the darkness, commanded loudly, "Let there be light." Immediately, the light of his presence filled the deep abyss and triumphing over darkness, revealed an unfinished world covered by crystal clear waters. With this gesture, the Eternal began a great battle by claiming his government light, battle of love against selfishness, justice against injustice, humility against pride, freedom against slavery, life against death. Battle without truce would last until the dawn desired. The divine king could return victorious to the holy hill of Zion, where, enthroned amid the praises of the redeemed, reign forever in perfect peace. The darkness in his escape pointed to the final annihilation of the rebellion. The void day of darkness is revealed here as the result of Lucifer's rebellion, a realm separated from the light and order of Yahweh's throne. It is not simply a place, but a spiritual condition, a kingdom built on pride, deception, and opposition to divine authority. This realm of darkness exists outside the presence of Yahweh, marked by confusion, lawlessness, and spiritual death. It becomes the dominion of those who reject the light, a counterfeit kingdom born from rebellion. In contrast to the harmony of the throne room, the void day represents chaos, a fallen realm where Lucifer seeks to exalt himself and draw others into his defiance against the Most High. Sometimes we come to Scripture with ideas we've inherited or long held, only to find that Yahweh invites us into deeper clarity through his word. Rather than focusing on rigid structures or symbolic interpretations, Genesis 1:1-2 calls our attention to something greater. The awe-inspiring truth that before anything else, Yahweh established his throne and authority. The earth's initial state of formlessness and darkness wasn't the beginning itself, but a backdrop for the divine order that was about to unfold. That's why it's so important that we let go of interpretations that lead to confusion or subtly give place to rebellion against Yahweh's order. This is a call not to division, but to alignment, to pursue truth together in humility and holiness. Let's fix our hearts on glorifying Yahweh alone and walk forward in the light he provides, rejecting anything that distracts from his purpose and glory. Yahweh's nature is revealed not only in his words, but in the very fabric of creation. From the rhythm of the seasons to the symmetry found in living things, the patterns woven throughout the natural world speak of his unchanging wisdom and deliberate design. These are not random occurrences. They are reflections of a creator whose ways are steadfast, whose order is intentional, and whose presence sustains life. In every cycle and structure, we are reminded creation isn't chaotic. It is a living testimony to the faithfulness and purpose of Yahuwah. And so I have Yah's nature revealed in his creation off to the side here. Oops. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to go back. Oh. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Technical difficulties. Okay. All right. As we just read in the book of Melchizedek, it describes Yahuwah as a lover of music, vibrating harmonious chords that represent justice and peace. These sounds are more than just beautiful. They form the foundation of order and balance in the universe. This connects to sematics, the science of how sound vibrations create visible patterns in matter, just like sematics shows how sound shapes physical forms. Yahuwah's vibrations shape reality, bringing justice and peace into the world. Through this harmony, creation is revealed as an intentional and ordered design, a living expression of balance. And so I'm sure, I know Jeremy just spoke about the somatics last Shabbat, but the stars make these shapes too if you were to zoom into them with a like a telescope.
Yeah, I showed a little video about that.
You did?
And it probably wasn't the best video of it, but so if you go on YouTube and you just look up stars P1000, and there'll be hundreds of them. But yeah, I just
Yeah,
wanted to say that real quick. Sorry.
yeah, they look like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And those kind of remind me of
You're breaking.
snowflakes. Huh? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, those kind of look like snowflakes too. So I don't think I have a picture of snowflakes in here, but they do look like those too.
Lost history of flat Earth goes into the somatics too. It's really cool.
Oh, good. Okay, so another clear example of this design is the spiral of a seashell. Small spirals form inside bigger spirals, all flowing into the largest spiral. In the same way, years, seasons, months, and days keep moving in a continuous cycle. The spiral never breaks. It only leaves a space from one turn to the next, and it is in that space that Yahuwah's presence is revealed. Just as the spiral reveals a continuous and sacred pattern, Yah's luminary calendar shows the divine rhythm woven into creation. The movement of the sun, moon, and stars aren't random. They are appointed by Yahuwah to govern days, months, seasons, and years. These celestial rhythms form the framework of his calendar, faithfully marking his appointed times and aligning heaven and earth in a perpetual cycle of order and meaning. Scriptures and the writings of Enoch affirm that these luminaries were placed with purpose, not just to sustain life, but to reveal covenant and divine timing. Unlike human-made systems that falter, this design holds time itself together without fail. Year after year, the pattern continues, not as a rigid loop, but as a living spiral, always moving forward, always pointing us back to the one who holds all things together. When we align with his calendar, we enter his rhythm, a rhythm testifying to his faithfulness, sovereignty, and desire to dwell with us in every appointed season. So this is a visual I made the other night, showing how his calendar is a spiral as well. I To the left here, we have the little gold symbol for Yahuwah, also called the head of days. And then we have days 1, 2, 3 of creation. But if you notice, the black spiral begins at day 4. And so this is when Yah's timekeeping devices were made. So that is, the little ones are the days of the year. So you can see 1 through 7. And then I stopped at 11 because obviously I can't fit 364 days all the way around this loop. But the last day is 364. And then we see Yah there as the, like, that middle space until like the next spiral starts. And so he's that glue that's holding these spirals together. When we start at day 4 of the week and we do 7 times 52, we end the year on the 3rd day of the week, and that's 364. And then we have the head of days, and the next spiral continues. And this is how Yah holds the years together and time itself through his nature, him being that binder. Colossians 1:17 says, "And he is before all things, and by him all things consist." That word consist means to set together, to unite, to combine into order, to stand near, to make firm, to hold together, or figuratively to establish, to constitute. Consist means more than just existing. It shows that all creation is actively set together, arranged, and held in unity by Yahuwah through Messiah. Just as spirals, cycles, and patterns in creation fit together in perfect order, this word reveals that it is Yahuwah himself who sets together and sustains the harmony of all things. Revelation 22 says, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He is the great I am." Miss Natalie made the slide for me showing the pictograph Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, the Greek, and then the Babylonian Hebrew sign. So, I didn't realize Alpha and Omega is the first and the last letter of the alphabet in Greek. However, the Aleph and the Tav is the first and last letter in Hebrew. So sometimes you'll hear it as Aleph and Tav, but that's why this is Alpha and Omega, because of the Greek. So he's both the beginning and the end. That's his nature. At the entrance of Solomon's temple stood 2 great pillars, Boaz on the left, meaning fleetness, and Jachin on the right, meaning he will establish. They represent the ending of the old year and the start of the new, revealing Yahweh's steadfast nature. Jeremy made this wonderful image for this presentation. Thank you again. And so I just have the meanings of these words in the interlinear on either side. 2 Chronicles 3:17, "And he reared up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left, and called the name of that on the right hand Jachin, and the name of that on the left Boaz." Isaiah 46:10, "I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come, saying, my counsel will be established, and I will accomplish all my purpose." This excerpt next is from the Dead Sea Scrolls. "And the course of seasons, in their order by their signs for all their dominion, in the order established through Yahweh's mouth, and through the witness of what is, and this will be, and nothing more. Besides it, there is no other, nor will there ever be another. For the Elohim of knowledge has established it, and no one else with him." So speaking of the Dead Sea Scrolls, Ezekiel 44 tells us about the Zadok priesthood. They shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the common, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. In a dispute they shall stand as judges, and judge it according to my judgments. They shall keep my laws and my statutes in all my appointed festivals, and hallow my Sabbaths. The calendar preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls reflects the meticulous work of the Zadok priesthood, the biblical priestly lineage charged with upholding the Torah, Sabbaths, and appointed times. These scrolls discovered at Qumran represent a restoration effort by a faithful remnant, likely priests descended from Zadok, the high priest under David and Solomon, who rejected the corruption of the temple system in Jerusalem. This priesthood took seriously Ezekiel's vision of the end times temple, where only the sons of Zadok are permitted to draw near to Yahweh and to judge disputes concerning Torah and the calendar. The calendar they preserved reveals a solar-based system structured to maintain purity in worship and restore the divine order of sacred time. So I went through these fragments so that we can look at the seasons mostly. So on the fragment it says the beginning of the first month on weekday 4 Tekufa, and so the first month begins on day 4 of the week, aligning with the Tekufa, the spring turning of the year. This is deeply symbolic, as day 4 is when the sun, moon, and stars were created, anchoring the calendar in the heavenly lights that govern appointed times. The first Sabbath of the year falls on the 4th day of the month. The calendar begins in divine order, with the Sabbaths falling on the 4th, 11th, 18th, 25th, every 7 days from the first Sabbath. Here's the end of month 3. The beginning of the third, so on line 6 here, it says, line 5, on the 28th in it Sabbath, weekday 2, in it falls the 30th day of the month. Weekday 3 is additional. The beginning of the 4th month is on weekday 4, Tekufa, on the 4th in it Sabbath. The 28th day of month 3 is a Sabbath, concluding the month's regular cycle. What follows is a 3-day transitional period. The 29th is the first day of the week, the 30th is the second day of the week, and the 31st marked as additional. Not part, it is part of the weekly cycle. Sorry. Month 4, that's meant to say, like the monthly cycle, right? Because these are the intercalated days. Month 4 begins on day 4, aligning again with the Tekufa, the summer turning of the year. This intercalated day preserves the integrity of the 364-day solar year, with Sabbaths always falling on the same weekdays. So, like, the Sabbaths on month 1 are going to be the same as they are on month 4. So here's the end of month 6. On the 28th in it Sabbath, weekday 2, and it falls the 30th day of the month. The beginning of the 7th month is on weekday 4, Tekufa, on the 4th in it Sabbath. So just like month 3, month 6 ends, like the Sabbath is on the 28th of the month. The 29th is the first day of the week, the 30th is the second day of the week, and the 31st is the third day of the week. Month 7 then begins on day 4, marking the autumn Tekufa, a key point in the priestly calendar. Month 7 also contains major appointed times. All right, end of month 9. So this is on the 28th and it's Sabbath. Weekday 2, and it falls the 30th of the month. Weekday 3 is additional. On the first day of the 10th month, Tekufa. So month 9 ends the same way. The 28th is the Sabbath. The 29th is the first day. The 30th is the second day. And the 31st is the third day of the week. Month 10 begins on day 4. The the same way as month 1, 4, and 7. So the Sabbath dates being the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th, I believe it is. Those are all the same Sabbath dates on those months. And then we get to month 12, starting at line 9 on the 28th, and it's Sabbath on weekday 2, and it falls the 30th day of the month. Weekday 3 is additional. Just the same as the previous quarters, the final month of the year ends with the 28th, the Sabbath, the 29th is the first day, the 30th is the second day, and the 31st day is additional. So we can see here that the pattern is continuing for each of the 4 seasons. So if you notice though, like each of them said to Tekufa. The Hebrew word Tekufa literally means cycle or circuit, but in the Dead Sea Scrolls it has a specific calendrical meaning. Each Tekufa marks the beginning of a new 91-day seasonal cycle, often called the head of the season. Importantly, Tekufa does not refer to the equinox or solstice. While those astronomical events occur near the start of each season, they are not exactly 91 days apart, whereas the Tekufa is a fixed seasonal marker in the calendar. In the Book of Jubilees, these seasonal heads correspond to Noah days, showing how ancient texts link solar cycles to sacred timekeeping. Recognizing Tekufa helps us see the structured pattern of the year as the ancients observed it. In Enoch 72, each season is laid out with exactly 91 days, forming a perfectly consistent cycle. One season cannot be longer or shorter without disrupting the overall pattern, showing the year was carefully measured and followed a precise rhythm. Like the repeating spirals in a seashell, the Tekufa marks the starting point of each new turn in the yearly cycle, making the pattern of the seasons clear and predictable. And then Miss Natalie made this image for me to show the word Tekufa and the different parts of that Hebrew word and what they mean. So we have cycle, circuit, season, turn, revolution, course, lapse. We can see that the covenant sign of the sunrise/circuit that secures and connects, it speaks/declares and reveals favor and grace. All right, we'll get into the solar cycle. Jubilees 2, 7 through 8. And on the 4th day, he created the sun and the moon and the stars and set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from darkness. And Yahweh appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbaths of years, and for jubilees, and for all seasons of the years. I've got a few pictures of the sun's analemma here. 2nd Ezra 6:45 through 46 tells us that Yahweh gave the luminaries a charge to do service unto men. So it says, upon the 4th day you commanded that the sun should shine and the moon give her light and the stars should be in order, and gave them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. When we consider how the year to be kept as 1 through 364 days, this service becomes structured and orderly. It is well known by believers alike that the number of man is 6, and there are 6 portals through which the luminaries move throughout the year. Each portal represents a segment of the year in which the luminaries carry out their appointed service, maintaining the rhythm of days, seasons, and time for humanity. This shows that the movement of the sun, moon, and stars is purposeful, intentional, and directly connected to man, revealing the careful and divine order established in creation to the service of man. I should have put there. All right, so I thought about going through all the months of Enoch, of how the sun moves, but I just thought I'd make a chart, and I can see I kind of messed up the last sentence there, but Enoch 72 describes the sun moving through 12 portals, each governing a month of the year. As the sun rises and sets through these portals, the length of day and night changes systematically. Early portals correspond to spring, middle portals, middle portals to summer, later portals to autumn, and final portals to winter. Each portal's days and nights are measured in symbolic parts, showing how daylight gradually increases or decreases throughout the year. So month 1 starts in portal 4, 30 days, and we can see that pattern again, the 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31. So it shows the gradual progression of the season, spring, summer, autumn, winter. Enoch 2:1-2 says, "Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it, from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of Elohim appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it." So today I remembered these visuals that were shared with me back in January, and I did not understand them then, but I do now. So just let's look at the top right of this picture first. And we can see those, the portals, like the path of the sun through them it's like a spiral upwards, where I know a lot of us have seen the models of the flat earth, and they'll have the rings that the sun moves through for the portals, but they appear all the same altitude, and that's not how it is, because the sun travels at different altitudes. Like, it'll be higher in the sky or lower in the sky throughout the year, and so it's making a spiral going upwards. It kind of reminds me of that baby toy with the rings on it, and they put the big ring on first, and then the next ring is a little bit smaller, up to the top. And then if you are all the way at the top looking down, that's the second picture on the right in the middle, how those rings look. And so that reminds me of that Qumran sundial, the way that they have it. And then the view from the side actually has, like, the Charlie was drawing the sun's analemma and how it does that. So when I was thinking about this, I was like, well, how does the sun move from one ring to the next? And it reminded me of this picture on the left that Adrian drew a while back, where she's showing the ring for the fourth portal, and then, like, she put this dotted line from the third, so there's like what did I call it? Like a tail. That's what I called it. Like a connector from one ring to the next. So, but you'd have to, like, visualize that on that first top right photo, essentially. And this is a beautiful picture from Natalie showing the 12 months of the year and how they coincide. And then on the outside of this picture, she's got the lunar stations or mansions, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so this is the only part of Enoch 72 I'd really like to read, is the beginning of it. The book of the courses of the luminaries of the heaven, the relations of each according to their classes, their dominion and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, who is their guide, showed me, and he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world, and unto eternity, till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. And this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, and its setting in the western portals of the heaven. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the stars, and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order, also many windows to the right and left of these portals. And first there goes forth the great luminary, named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of the heaven. In this passage, Enoch describes how the sun follows a precise path across the sky through 6 eastern and 6 western gates. Each gate corresponds to different times of the year, controlling the rising and setting points of the sun. The text also mentions the moon and stars following in an orderly sequence, emphasizing that all celestial bodies move according to set laws. By describing the sun as filled with illuminating and heating fire, and having a circumference like the heavens, the passage highlights the sun's importance as the central source of light and energy for the world. The system ensures regular seasons, consistent days, and a balanced calendar. Enoch 72:5 describes the sun's journey. It goes down from heaven, returns through the north in order to reach the east to begin its circuit again. This day is the starting point of the sun's yearly cycle. So what day is Enoch 72:5 speaking of if the day after is day 1 through 364? Enoch 71 says, "And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house, and round about were seraphim, cherubic, and ophanim, and these are they who sleep not and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, and many angels without number, and with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled. And these blessings which went forth out of my mouth were well pleasing before that head of days. And that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel, thousands and 10,000s of angels without number." This is why I call it the head of days. Daniel 7:9 through 10 says, "I was looking until thrones were placed, and the Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like clean wool. His throne was flames of fire, its wheels burning fire. A stream of fire was flowing and coming forth from his presence, and 1,000 thousands served him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judge was seated, and the books were opened." So this sounds just like Enoch 71. Enoch 43 says, "In those days I saw the head of days when seated himself upon the throne of his esteem, and the books of the living were opened before him, and all his host which is in the Shamayim above, and his counselors stood before him." Remember, Yahweh's set apart place of his throne and the soles of his feet is in the northward. Yahweh is the head of days because he is before all things. So which day of the year is Enoch 72:5 speaking of? How can we tell which day of the solar year is the head of days if it's not 1 through 364? Psalm 19 says, "The heavens are proclaiming the esteem of El, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, and there are no words. Their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he set up a tabernacle for the sun. And it is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. It rejoices like a strong man to run the path. Its rising is from one end of the heavens, and its circuit to the other, and naught is hidden from its heat. The Torah of Yahweh is perfect, bringing back the being. The witness of Yahweh is trustworthy, making wise the simple. The ordinances of Yahweh are straight, rejoicing the heart. The command of Yahweh is clear, enlightening the eyes." And I should have underlined this bridegroom coming out of his chamber. So what is the chamber? Some
The
other,
north.
yeah. You're going right to the punchline.
Sorry.
Just in case nobody was, in case anyone wasn't following that.
Sorry.
You nailed it.
Woo, love it.
Okay, so some other scriptures to consider. Consider the work of Yahweh, for who can make straight what he has made crooked? Psalm 5:8, lead me, Yahweh, in thy righteousness because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. Mark 1:3, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the master, make his paths straight. Matt 7:14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. What's interesting on that verse is the spelling of the word straight. Something to look into. John 15:5, I am the vine, you are the branches. The one who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. The head of days is symbolized by the cup on top of the central straight branch of the menorah, which is actually when you look at, when you read about how they are told to make the menorah, that branch is made first, the middle one. Representing divine order and timekeeping, the day of the straight line shadow is set apart from the curve of time, just as he is, before all things, and by him all matters are established. This is the day spoken of in Enoch 72:5, that the sun moves to the north, which does precede the 1 through 364 day count, 4 seasons of 91 days, beginning in verse 6. John 8:54, Yahusha answered, if I esteem myself, my esteem is none at all. It is my Father who esteems me, of whom you say he is your Elohim. And you have not known him, but I know him. And if I say I do not know him, I shall be like you, a liar. But I do know him, and I guard his word. Your father Abraham was glad that he should see my day, and he saw it and did rejoice. Ezra 6:6, then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. He is the end and the beginning, the first and the last. All right, so let's look at the earthly tabernacle. The Exodus tabernacle was built according to the pattern shown to Moses. Some believe it may have been round in shape, reflecting ancient sacred designs in the heavenly tabernacle. Its layout showed order and balance, reminding Yasharel that Yahweh set times and seasons in place. The tabernacle stood as the place where heaven and earth met, and where his presence chose to dwell among his people. Matt 6:10, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the earthly tabernacle reflects the heavenly tabernacle. Exodus 26:33 describes the curtain that separated the holy place from the Holy of Holies. This veil prevented any direct sunlight from passing through the entrance pillars into the inner sanctuary. There are no scriptures suggesting that the curtains were ever parted, since only the high priest was allowed into the Holy of Holies once a year. If natural light reached the chamber, it would have been faint and scattered through the coverings. Some suggest that at solar noon on the equinox, the sun's rays could have entered from above through the smaller northern opening at the top, but this remains uncertain. I really need to get Andy Hoy's tabernacle model because I'd like to test that. But yet, beyond the physical structure, the tabernacle pointed to something deeper than light and shadows. It revealed how Yahweh himself chose to dwell with his people. So the glory of Yah versus the light of the sun. Are these the same or are they different? Number 789. And when Moshe was gone into the tabernacle of the assembly to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of testimony, from between the two cherubim, and he spoke unto him. So the voice was on the ark of testimony, so in the Holy of Holies. So I did some comparisons here of the word glory from the Old Testament and the New Testament. Exodus 29:43, and there I will meet with the children of Yasharel, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified by my glory. The word for glory used here in the Hebrew is kabod, or kabod. It reminds me of that abode. So properly weight, but only figuratively in a good sense, splendor or copious, gloriously, glory, honorable. In the New Testament, Matthew 16:27, for the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. And the word for glory here is doxa, glory as very apparent in a wide application, dignity, glorious, honor, praise, worship. So let's compare now the light of the sun. In Old Testament, Isaiah 30:26. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of 7 days, in the day that the Lord bindeth up the breach of his people and healeth the stroke of their wound. So the word for light is illumination or luminary, in every sense including lightning, bright, clear, day, light, morning, sun. In the New Testament, a different word is used, Revelation 22:5, and there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun. For the Lord, for Yahuwah giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever and ever. So the word for light for the sun is phos, from an obsolete, to shine or make manifest, especially by rays, luminousness, fire, light. Acts 26:13 says, at midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me. The greater truth is that Yahweh himself placed his light within the Holy of Holies, not necessarily the sun. On his appointed day, it was his presence that filled the chamber. When Messiah died, the veil was torn, showing that his light was no longer hidden but open to his people. In this, Messiah fulfilled the pattern described in Hebrews 9. He entered the most holy place once and for all, not with the blood of animals, but with his own blood. Now, through him, Yahweh's dwelling is no longer confined to a chamber made by hands, but within his people themselves. And so another important thing to consider is like only the high priest could go into that Holy of Holies because the light of Yah would kill people because it was so strong. His glory was that strong. Yeah. So this is an excerpt from the Dead Sea Scrolls that I found. They shall arrange the chiefs of the priests behind the high priest, and of his second in rank, 12 chiefs to serve in perpetuity before Yahuwah, and the 26 chiefs of the divisions shall serve in their divisions, and after them the chiefs of the Levites to serve always, 12, one per tribe. And the chiefs of their divisions shall each serve in his place. The chiefs of the tribes, and after them the fathers of the congregation, shall take their positions in the gates of the sanctuary in perpetuity, and the chiefs of the divisions with their enlisted shall take their positions at their feasts, their new months, the Sabbaths, and all the days of the year, those of 50 years and upwards. They shall take their positions at the holocausts and the sacrifices, in order to prepare the pleasant incense for Yahweh's approval, to atone for all his congregation, and to satisfy themselves in perpetuity before him at the table of glory. 1 Chronicles 23, because their office was to wait on the sons of Aaron for the service of the house of Yahweh, in the courts, and in the chambers, and in the purifying of all holy things, and the work of the service of the house of Elohim. So we can see that the high priest is first, and before the service of those after him, he must go first. Again, from the Dead Sea Scrolls, when the lights shine out of the holy vault, when they retire to the abode of glory, at the entry of the seasons in the days of the new months, together with their rotations during their stations, renewing each other. It is a great day for the Holy of Holies, and a sign of the opening of his everlasting mercies, for the beginnings of the seasons in every future age. At the commencement of the months in their seasons, and of the holy days in their sequence, as a reminder in their seasons. With the offering of lips I shall bless him, in accordance with the decree recorded forever. John 14 says, Yahusha answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. So the word abode used here means a staying, that is residence, the act or the place, abode, mansion. So where is Yah's abode of glory? Because it's saying that these lights that shine out of the holy vault retire to the abode of glory. All right. So this concept of north, we have to talk about first before getting into this. Where exactly is north? North changes meaning depending on the plane. In the transverse plane, it's one of the four quarters of the earth, while in the sagittal plane, it's an upward direction into the heavens. So transverse north is cardinal north, oriented like map north on the surface of the earth, lies flat in the same plane as east, west, and south, represents direction across the horizontal ground plane. Sagittal north, or true north, is oriented like upward north toward the sky. It moves vertically away from the Earth's surface and represents direction across the vertical plane. So this would be upward. And lastly, there is the place that compasses all point to, which is magnetic north, or the center of the Earth, is defined by the Earth's magnetic field pointing toward, I don't like that word, planet center, determines compass orientation and guides navigation, differs from cardinal north, which is fixed on maps, represents a directional line through the Earth, connecting surface points with the magnetic core helps explain why compass readings do not always align with the northern quarter. Jubilees 8:19 says, "And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies, and the dwelling of Yahweh, and Mount Sinai, the desert, the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places facing each other." And so we can see north in three different ways being described here. So sagittal true north is like Polaris when you look upward or northward at the sky. Transverse north or cardinal north is a location on the earth in which we're told it's Mount Sinai. So I have a picture here of that. And then there's magnetic north, which is the center of the earth. So let's talk a little about sagittal north and how we can see that in scripture. Ezekiel 8:3. "And he stretched out the form of a hand, and he took me by a lock of my hair. And the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heavens, and brought me in visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the north gate of the inner court, where the seat of the image of jealousy was, which causes jealousy." So when you think like door of the north gate of the inner court, you're thinking of like the temple. And see, the esteem of the Elohim of Yasharel was there, like the vision that I saw in the plain. And he said to me, "Son of man, please lift your eyes toward the north." And I lifted my eyes northward, and north of the slaughter place gate I saw this image of jealousy in the entrance. And he said to me, "Son of man, do you see what they are doing? The great abominations which the house of Yasharel are doing here, driving me away from my set apart place? And you are to see still greater abominations." This ties into Ezekiel 43. "So the Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner court, and behold, the esteem of Yahweh filled the house. And I heard him speaking unto me out of the house, and the man stood by me. And he said unto me, Son of man, the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, where I will dwell in the midst of the children of Yasharel forever. And my holy name shall the house of Yasharel no more defile, neither they nor their kings, by their whoredom, nor by the carcasses of their kings in their high places. Yahweh's set apart place of his throne and the soles of his feet is in the north/northward." And the northern lights remind me of the description given of his throne in the book of Melchizedek about the jasper and the sapphire and all the precious stones being described there. So Enoch 77, 3-4 divides the north into three parts: the dwelling of man, seas, abysses, forests, rivers, darkness, and clouds, and the garden of righteousness. Ezekiel 7:77. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into three parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second contains seas of water, and the abysses and forests and rivers, and the darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness. I saw 7 high mountains, higher than all the mountains which are on the earth. And thence comes forth hoarfrost, and days, seasons, and years pass away. The north is where days, seasons, and years pass away, marking it as the ending point of time cycles. Together with Enoch 72:5, these passages show the north as the pivot of creation's cycles, where time both begins and ends. The sun traverses north in order to return to the east, to the beginning of its circuit. And here in Enoch 77, cycles also conclude, emphasizing the ordered, intentional nature of creation, the nature of Yah. So magnetic north, the center of the earth. Ezekiel 43:7 tells us that he will dwell in the midst of the children of Yasharel forever. In this context of being in the midst of his people, it could very well be relating to the center of the earth where Mount Zion is. This is called the Rupus Nigra, Latin for black rock. It's described in early maps and legends as a massive magnetic rock located at the North Pole. Medieval and Renaissance cartographers believed it to be a central feature of the Arctic, sometimes said to be surrounded by a whirlpool or encircled by several large islands. Its magnetic properties were thought to influence the compass, explaining the orientation of navigational instruments. So it's not the core of the planet. It is the magnetic north, the center of the earth. Enoch 24. And from thence I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me a mountain range of fire which burnt day and night. And I went beyond it and saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other. And the stones thereof were magnificent and beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of glorious appearance and fair exterior, 3 toward the east, founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, one upon the other, and deep and rough ravines, no one of which joined with any other. And the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne. And fragrant trees encircled the throne, and amongst them was a tree such as I had never yet smelt. Neither was any amongst them, nor were other like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrance, and its leaves and blooms and wood wither not forever. And its fruit is beautiful, and its fruit resembles the dates of a palm. Then I said, how beautiful is this tree, and fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and it blooms very delightful in appearance. Then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels who was with me and was their leader. All right, Enoch 25. And he said unto me, Enoch, why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree? And why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Then I answered him, saying, I wish to know everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered, saying, this high mountain which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of Yahweh, is his throne, where the holy great one, the Elohim of glory, eternal King, will sit when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant trees encircled, no mortal is permitted to touch it till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It shall then be given to the righteous and holy. Its fruit shall be for food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of Elohim, the eternal King. Then shall they rejoice with joy and be glad. And into the holy place shall they enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones. And they shall live a long life on earth, such as their fathers lived. And in their days shall no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity touch them. Then I bless the Yahweh of glory, the eternal King, who hath prepared such things for the righteous, and hath created them and promised to give to them. So if this is the case, that Mount Zion is in the center of the earth, why is this land hidden? Colossians 1:16 says, for by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Second Ezra says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth fails when it feels the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place without the hill, whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. He could not see it. 2nd Ezra 13:33 through 36. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw them willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be shown to all men, being prepared and built, like as you saw the hill graven without hands. Enoch 1:3 through 4. Concerning the elect I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal Elohim will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and will appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. So his camp. 2nd Ezra 7 says, for behold, the time will come when the signs which I have foretold to you will come to pass, that the city which now is not seen shall appear, and the land which now is hidden shall be disclosed. The Testament of Levi says, for he will give the majesty of the Lord to his children in truth forever, and none will succeed him for all generations ever. And in his priesthood the Gentiles will be multiplied in knowledge on the earth, and enlightened by the grace of the Lord. In his priesthood sin will come to an end, and the lawless will cease to do evil, and the just will rest in him. And he will open the gates of paradise, and will remove the threatening sword against Adam. And he will give to the saints to eat from the tree of life, and the spirit of holiness will be upon them. And Beliar will be bound by him, and he will give power to his children to trample upon the evil spirits. And the Lord will rejoice in his children, and be well pleased in his beloved ones forever. Then Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will be joyful, and I will be glad, and all the saints will clothe themselves with joy. So if you've ever heard the term camp of the saints, those two verses connect with each other. He will appear in his camp, and he gives that to his saints. Ezekiel 31:18 says, which of the trees of Eden can be compared with you in splendor and majesty? Yet you too will be brought down with the trees of Eden to the earth below. You will lie among the uncircumcised with those killed by the sword. This is Pharaoh and all his hordes, declares Yahuwah Adonai. Jubilees 4:26. And he, Enoch, was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And behold, there he writes down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. And on account of it, Yahuwah brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden, for there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of judgment. And he burnt the incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices, acceptable before the Lord on the mount. so we can see the significance here of the north, specifically Mount Zion, the center of the earth. Okay, so this is related, but I wanted to throw this in here because oftentimes we hear the word equal lux. On Enoch 72:32 says, "On that day the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. The head of days is the straight line shadow day when the sun traverses to the north and marks the vernal equinox as we know it. However, day 364 comes just before this day, meaning it is not the equinox itself. It is the day when sunrise and sunset times in Jerusalem are equal, signaling the final balance of the year before the new cycle begins. This shows the precision of the calendar, where the luminaries are guided to maintain exact cycles of days and seasons. After the head of days comes day 1 of the 364-day year." And so on the right, I have, this is calibrated to Jerusalem time, where we can see the sunrise end time and the sunrise start time. So sunrise end indicates when the full orb of the sun is entirely visible over the horizon. Sunrise start indicates when a portion of the full orb of the sun is lower than the horizon. So this reckoning of this like equal lux, if you will, in Jerusalem time, it is equal on March 19th, going by the definition of the full orb of the sun above the horizon. But I think it's important to know that the equal lux is dependent on location. Every location on Earth will have a different equal lux. And the equal lux date is also dependent on the definition being used. So after Enoch 72:5 of the sun traversing to the north, it says in this way, then he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th. So the sun traverses north the day before, and then in the first month, the next day, he rises in the 4th portal. The equinox being on the line between portals 3 and 4. All right, but more significantly, to tie into what we were all just talking about, Yahoo is set apart place in the north, positioned in the midst of Yasharel, is a location where the passing away of days, seasons, and years can be observed in a unique way. This sacred position reveals a critical celestial sign that becomes especially significant on the 364th day of the solar year, highlighting the precise moment of transition within the cycle of time. So on the right here, I have the analemma up and down. This is how it would be perceived in the north, at the north, quote, pole at Mount Zion. The sun's analemma will make this shape in a vertical line, if you will. The solar analemma is the figure 8 shaped path traced by the sun in the sky when observed from a fixed location at the same time each day over the year. So we can see the top of it smaller than the bottom, which directly correlates to that picture from Charlie where she's showing the portals that the sun moves through, and the bottom one is wider than the top one. So it's an upward spiral. And the equinox day is in the middle of the entire shape. It is not necessarily that cross section. It is in the middle of it. At the North Pole, as we know it, the sun behaves very differently from what we experience at lower latitudes, moving in a circular path along the horizon rather than rising in the east and setting in the west as we are accustomed to. So essentially, the sun is turning in a circle around the horizon, Like if you were standing in a position and you spun yourself in a circle, you could do that and follow the sun going all the way around. For 6 months, the sun remains entirely below the horizon, while for the following 6 months, it stays completely above it. At first glance, this seems impossible, since the horizon meets our eyes at a seemingly level plane, even when viewed from the altitude of an airplane. Yet at the north, Mount Zion stretches to the heavens, towering far above the sun's path. From this esteemed vantage point, the extraordinary movements of the sun can be seen, revealing a sign that is otherwise invisible elsewhere on the earth. On the 364th day of the solar year in the north, the sun reaches a precise position, half above and half below the horizon, which is the 0-degree line. So again, like if we look on that picture on the left, the sun, if I were to toggle the hours switch there, you would see the sun stay at that same level and just rotate all the way around. This is on stellarium, which is different than like how we experience the sun of it like going up and then going down, like in an arch, if you will. This is rotating around, like if it were rotating on the outer edges of a compass, it's circling. What is really specific and significant here is the days, because this doesn't, like these days are different than what you would likely expect them to be. But on the 17th of 2024 of March, the sun is still completely below the horizon line, which is that 0-degree line in the middle at the North Pole, meaning they are not going to see the orb of the sun on this day because it is below the horizon. They will see some of its light like we do at dawn in the morning hours before the sun rises. Like they'll see the light there on the horizon, but they won't see the orb of the sun because it's below it. The next day, on March 18th of 2024, the sun is half up and half down. And it stays that way the entire day. So the sun, imagine that, seeing the sun only half risen, and it just travels from east to south to west to north, back to east. It's going in a circle around you, halfway up, halfway down. That's on March 18th. The next day, on the 19th of 2024, the sun is completely risen above the horizon now. So they will see the full orb of the sun on Mount Zion on this day because it's completely above the horizon. And if you think about it, with that upward spiral, when the sun is all the way at the bottom on its lowest portal, if you will, which is number 1 at the winter solstice, from Mount Zion, they cannot see the light of the sun because it's so far below them. And so they're not going to see that orb of the sun for 6 months out of the year. But it's significant that on this day, here, March 19th, 2024, they can then see the orb of the sun above the horizon again because it's high enough in the firmament for them to actually see it. So this is interesting, though. It's March 19th of 2024. So, all right. So the very next day, the sun, now completely above the horizon, traverses northward, marking the fleetness of the old year and the establishment of the new. On this day, many on the earth will observe the straight line shadow, a celestial sign to Yasharel of the head of days. In this way, the sun continues its return toward the east, and the following day begins its next circuit along the curve of time at the renewal of the solar year. So I have the chart of the analemma on the right, and that 0-degree line again is the horizon line. So with a vertical analemma, you can see how all those other months of the year, the sun's going to be below that horizon line in the south, because it depends on the directional plane in which you're speaking of. The sun will be southerly for 6 months of the year, and then it will be northernly for 6 months of the year. So when Enoch 72:5 says the sun traverses through the north, it comes back to being northernly or northward in order to return to the east. Because that day when the sun is completely above the horizon, that's our straight line shadow head of days now. And it's returning to the east to begin its circuit again that next day. And why that next day? Because on the head of days, that straight line shadow day, it is not on the circuit of time. This is the chamber in which the bridegroom comes forth in order to run his race. So the next day, the sun will make a curved path and begin its curve of time. All right. So one of the biggest questions, though, is about the leap year. How can we determine that? Enoch set, so this I learned from Dustin Hoffman, and it is a speculation about why the leap year. Why is there a fraction of the day? Why isn't it just 365 days only? Why the 0.24? So Enoch 71 says, "And he came to me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, This is the Son of Man who is born unto righteousness, and righteousness abides over him, and the righteousness of the head of days forsakes him not. And he said unto me, He proclaims unto thee peace in the name of the world to come, for from hence has proceeded peace since the creation of the world. And so shall it be unto thee forever and ever and ever. And all shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsaketh him. With him will be their dwelling places, and with him their heritage, and they shall not be separated from him forever and ever and ever. And so there shall be length of days with that Son of Man, and the righteous shall have peace and an upright way in the name of the Yahuwah of spirits forever and ever." So the head of days represents that 365/0, the end and the beginning, the nature of Yah, that completes the solar year. But the Son of Man could be compared to the extra 0.24 of a day that doesn't fit neatly into the count but gradually accumulates, showing how even the smallest part has purpose in Yahweh's design. All right, so let's look at a leap year in the north. The north is the place of significance all throughout Scripture, is Mount Zion, where Yahweh dwells in the midst of his children. On the leap year in the north, the Son of Man will be brought forth beside the head of days in the form of a second day that the sun is on the horizon line. So we can see day 364 of 2026 is March 18th, and the sun is just barely peaking above that horizon line, so it's on the line. And the next day, the 19th, is symbolic of the Son of Man, because the sun is still not fully emerged above the horizon line. It's still partially below. And then the head of days is March 20th of 2026. Now the sun is completely above. And this will be the day that we will see as the straight line shadow. All right. And so that there is, later on in this presentation, I have 11 years marked down that shows the pattern for the leap year, and it does not coincide with the pattern of the Gregorian's leap year. So But it does make a pattern that is replicable. Like you could guess it once you know the pattern. You would just know what it's going to be. So, and then the straight line shadow will confirm it. The stellar cycle. All right. Enoch 82. I'm just going to read the last verse here. There are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year enter first, and after them the 12 leaders of the orders who divide the months. And for the 360 days there are head over thousands who divide the days. And for the 4 intercalary days there are leaders which sunder the 4 parts of the year. And this is the ordinance of the stars. This is what they're appointed to do. It's the laws of their revolutions. So we can see the seasons in the stars. Polaris, the North Star, sits exactly at the celestial North Pole, serving as the fixed head of the northern sky. The Big Dipper rotates around Polaris throughout the night and over the course of the year, providing a natural way to track the changing seasons. By observing the position of the Big Dipper relative to Polaris, the ancients could determine the time of year and anticipate seasonal shifts. Just as the Takufa marks the head of each 91-day season, the steady rotation of the stars around Polaris reveals the ordered pattern of time in the sky, showing how the movements of the heavens reflect the rhythm and structure of the year. So for our star leaders, when do we look for them? The heliacal rising happens when a star appears in the eastern sky just before sunrise, after being hidden by the sun's glare. This first morning appearance marks the star's return to visibility in the yearly cycle. Ancient peoples watched these risings to track time and seasons. In Yahweh's design, the stars witness to the appointed times, and their heliacal risings act as natural markers within his calendar. Jubilees 12 says, "And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, Abram arose and sat in the night at the head of the 7th month, so that he might observe the stars from the evening to the morning, so that he might know what would be the character of the year with regard to the rains, and he was sitting alone and observing." So they definitely looked at these stars. All right, possible star leaders. I learned about Saddle Melech from Dustin Hoffman, and then he and Gina Sparks mentioned the other 3 star leaders listed here: Aldebaran, Regulus, and Antares. So I just took some screenshots of them at the heliacal horizon. You can see the horizon line, and the sun is below it here, and then how these star leaders emerge first before the sun rises. The 12 constellations along the ecliptic, often called the zodiac, divide the sky into 12 sections that correspond to the months of the solar year. As the sun moves through these constellations over the course of a year, its position marks the progression of time and passing of each month. Ancient observers could track the sun's journey through these constellations to coordinate agricultural, ceremonial, and calendrical activities. Just as the Takufa marks the head of each season, the sun's passage through the zodiac constellations provides a visual framework for the year, showing a repeating, predictable pattern that aligns the solar months with the cycles of the heavens. So it's not the moon that gives us the months. It's the sun moving through the backdrop of the stars. All right, so just to throw in a little history here, I want to talk about some ancient timekeeping devices. From the beginning, the luminaries were appointed for keeping time as we know it. Long before mechanical clocks, people measured time by watching the heavens, the rising and setting of the sun, the cycle of the moon, and the ordered patterns of the stars created and natural timepiece above. Ancient cultures designed instruments to track these movements, devices that help them mark days, seasons, and sacred festivals. The first one is the sundial. It's one of the oldest tools for measuring time, relying entirely on the sun's movement across the sky. It consists of a flat surface with hour lines and a raised piece called a gnomon that casts a shadow. As the sun moves, the shadow shifts along the hour lines, indicating the time of day based on the sun's position. Sundials work best on sunny days and provide a natural way to track time through the steady rotation of, the rotation of the sun. Isaiah 38:8, we can see the sundial in scripture here. Behold, I will make the shadow cast by the declining sun on the dial of Ahaz turn back 10 steps. So the sun turned back on the dial the 10 steps by which it had declined. So they were using them back in biblical times. This is an astrolabe. The astrolabe is the complex and versatile ancient instrument designed to measure the altitude of celestial bodies like stars and planets. By adjusting its movable parts to match the positions of these objects, users can calculate the time, determine latitude, and solve various astronomical problems. Often called the first analog computer, the astrolabe was invaluable for navigation, astronomy, and timekeeping, illustrating the deep connection between the heavens and earthly time. Now, I would say our daylight savings time will throw this off a bit, to convert it to your local time. I know around the equinox, solar noon is 1:15 p.m. here. So that's not noon, but that's because they already did daylight savings time where they pushed everybody an hour forward. Nocturnal is a simple yet ingenious tool used to tell time during the night by observing stars. By aligning the instrument with Polaris, the North Star, and another pointer star in constellations like the Big Dipper, users can read the position of the stars relative to Polaris to determine the hour of the night. This device was especially useful for sailors and travelers before the invention of modern clocks, showing how Yahweh's order in the night sky guides us even in darkness. The lunar volvel is a rotating calendar device designed to track the moon's phases and its position relative to the solar month. By turning its disk, users can see where the moon is in its cycle as it moves alongside the solar calendar, helping predict events like full moons, new moons, and eclipses. This tool was essential for managing the interplay between the lunar and solar cycles, critical for agriculture, religious festivals, and understanding Yahweh's appointed times. It beautifully illustrates the precise harmony woven into creation's rhythms. And the last one is this Prague astronomical clock. If you've never seen this, it's actually still in the Czech Republic and is still in use. It still works. So that's all the way from 1410 when it was installed. So it is one of the oldest and most intricate medieval timepieces still in operation. It's much more than a clock. It's a mechanical marvel that combines timekeeping with astronomical and calendar functions. The clock features a dial showing the position of the sun and moon in the sky, phases of the moon, and the current zodiac sign, linking earthly time with celestial cycles. Beyond telling time, it's a symbol of the harmony between heaven and earth, reflecting the deep order Yahweh established in creation. All right. The moon is often misunderstood. It is more than just a nighttime light. It serves as a marker, a guide, and a witness in the natural and spiritual order. Today, we'll explore its three aspects supported by the original language and meanings that reveal its true purpose. So the moon makes an analemma as well, and this is only half of it. It'll cycle around and look kind of like the sun's analemma. Here's a summary of all the verbs used for the moon in scripture. I left out the verses that I got these from, just for time's sake.
Well, when they post it, we'll play it back, text it, and you can see it too.
Hey, you're unmuted, dear.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had it in my pocket.
That's all right. All right, so I bold printed some of the ones that I wanted to highlight for you guys. All right, so the aspects of the moon, there's 3 of them. The photo period of the moon is like the phases of the moon that you'll see the percentages. And the photo periods influence light exposure and biological rhythms. And the gate motions, so the gate motions is like when it says the sun goes through certain gates, the moon does the same thing. So there are gates, cycle of the gates that it moves through as well throughout the lunar month. And then there's also the stations of the moon, which is the moon's nightly path through defined zones of the sky used in ancient timekeeping. Also referred to as lunar mansions in the Chinese culture. I am not interested in the folklore, but just the aspect that the moon moves through positions in the sky. And so they are stations, and the word stations is what we typically find in scripture, at least in Enoch, when it's talking in the book of the luminaries, it mentions the stations. But there was that verse in John where it says, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." All right, so the photo period refers to the changing levels of moonlight throughout the phases of the moon over the course of its cycle. The moon's photoperiod month averages about 29.5 days, made up of 6 months with 29 days and 6 months of 30. Compared to the solar months, this creates a difference of 6 days per year. Additionally, the solar calendar includes 4 intercalary days, making a total difference of 10 days. So it has biological impacts and also agricultural use. You can plant by the light of the moon, or harvest, or not plant. Some crops are thought to grow differently depending on moon phase and light exposure at night. And Sister Germaine uses the moon to plant her garden, so she knows a lot of info about this, and that's where I first heard of this from. But I find it really, really fascinating. This chart on the right, you can get those on Amazon. I think this one is from Amazon that I found, where it gives you, instructions on how to plant by the moon. All right. So the gate motions, these screenshots are from Colton's video from, I think he has Bible Days. He's done a lot of work with these gate motions. The gate motion refers to the movement of the moon through appointed gates in the sky, as described in the book of Enoch. The moon's motion through the gates averages about 29 days. This shorter cycle results in a yearly shortfall of about 6 days compared to the photo period. In 1 Enoch chapters 72 through 35, the moon is said to rise and set through a series of 12 gates at the end of the heavens. These gates marked the structured path by which the moon enters and exits the sky each day and night. All right, so this is the Zodiac Scroll from the Dead Sea Scrolls, fragment 4Q318, and this refers to the stations of the moon. It outlines a complete 364-day calendar year. In reconstructing the entire pattern, all fragments fit together perfectly, confirming the accuracy of this year length. When I looked at these fragments, I just wondered, so this talks about the end of month 6 and 7. This one talks about month 10, 11, and 12. Are they the same year? And so I took the pattern made on those months and overlaid it on a calendar, and then just filled in between, utilizing the pattern, and they are indeed the same year. But there's only 1 year. So importantly, from the 26th to the 31st day of the 12th month, the calendar shows no extra or void days inserted within the 364-day cycle. This means the calendar is continuous and unbroken, with no additional days added inside the year itself, highlighting a precise and orderly timekeeping system based on the moon's motion through its stations. The stations of the moon refer to the fixed checkpoints or divisions the moon passes through on its journey across the sky, reflecting structure and order as described in ancient texts. The moon moves through 24 fixed stations of 15 degrees each in a 27.321 day cycle. After 10 complete revolutions through these stations, the total time is approximately 273.2 days, which corresponds to 3 91-day solar seasons. This allows us to use the moon's motion to accurately track the year and its seasons. From studying the station patterns, 2 key truths emerge. The head of days aligns with the winter intercalary day, meaning the position in the sky that the moon is in and the constellation it is in front of will be the same from the head of days and the winter intercalary day. They will match each other because those are 273 days apart. Likewise, the summer intercalary day lines up with the spring intercalary day, which is the 364th day of the year. And the last day, the sun remains in the third portal, as described in Equinox 72. So that summer intercalated day, the moon will be in front of the same constellation, the same point in the constellation, as it will be on the last day of the year. So these are like mile markers on the highway. So like the sun and its yearly path is the road, and the moon is the mile markers on the side of the road. The moon is not determining how far the road will go, but she does mark its journey along the way. So on the left here, I have a pattern that I put together. In my previous presentations, I had 20 years of patterns. However, I have 4 years listed here. And that is because, number one, putting these patterns together take quite a bit of time. But number two, the dates that I used in that first set of the 20 years were incorrect based on knowing what the 364th day in the north is now, and that the head of days comes next after that, the significance of all of that in reckoning our years. And so I put together the 4 years like near us, utilizing those dates now, and the stations that the moon is in. I also added the station number. And the numbers really come from, like they're 15 degrees apart. And so you can see the 0 line, the 0 hour line. So 24 stations, there's 24 hours. And so the celestial sphere is divided into 24 sections. And so I marked the numbers based on the section on the celestial sphere. So you can see on the left for 2023, the head of days is March 20th, and it's in station number 24, Aquarius. It is the same on day 273, which is the winter intercalary day. And then likewise, if you go down to 2024, day 91 of the year, the sun intercalary day, the moon is in front of Libra in the 16th station or position in the sky. And it is in that same position on day 364 of the year. And so then I have the 2 other years. I thought it was important to add the leap year, which is 2026. So the moon is in front of Pisces on this day. And so on March 19th, it is in position 1, so the first 15 degrees of the celestial sphere. And on the 20th, it's in position 2. And I thought that was fascinating. When I got to day 273, the winter intercalary day, it actually goes between both of those stations in the same day. So it's like part way through, and then like as you're going through the course of the day, it moves into the second station as well. So it actually matches the Son of Man and the Head of Days. The moon...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Whoops, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. The moon moves through its 24 fixed stations in a 27.321 day cycle. After 10 complete revolutions through these stations, the total time is approximately 273.2 days, which corresponds to 3 91-day solar seasons. This allows us to use the moon's motion to accurately track the year and its seasons. These stations allow us to confirm the passing of the year and its seasons using the moon as a second witness without relying on the photoperiods of lunar months. The head of days and intercalary days act as precise, fixed markers dividing the year with perfect balance. Equinox 74:17 says, "And the year is justly finished, in accordance with their stations, and the stations of the sun, rising through their portals, through which they rise and set 30 days." So the moon gives us that witness for the 364th day of the year, just as the sun does in the north, being halfway up and halfway below that horizon line. So we have 2 witnesses now to establish the last day of the year. Here's the 24 lunar stations. I forgot I put this picture in a second time. I just thought it was so beautiful. Natalie added those in there. John 14:2 says, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." The moon does not determine the year the way the sun does, yet she plays a vital role as a witness to the appointed times. She is said to govern the night and to mark the fixed times with consistency and precision. Her movement is appointed and established in the heavens, and she is described as distinguished and valuable among the luminaries. Through her ordered path, the moon testifies to the passing of the year, confirming what the sun has set in motion. She does not appoint the year, but she records it, acting as a visible sign of Yahweh's timing. And so if we add a day before the 364th day of the year, the moon will no longer be a witness in this way. It will make it not true. And so those days must stay intact. All right, so how can we see the priestly courses in the heavenly tabernacle? The 24 elders surrounding the throne may not be arbitrary. In the time of David, the priesthood was divided into 24 courses, each serving in rotation before Yahweh. Revelation echoes this number, describing 24 elders clothed in white and crowned, seated around the throne in worship. Even in the heavens, the moon cycle can be divided into 24 distinct stations, reflecting the same divine order. These parallels suggest that priestly service, heavenly worship, and the motions of the luminaries are interconnected, all bearing witness to the harmony of Yahweh's design. The 24 priestly courses are mentioned in the following scriptures. I won't read them all, so I just put like a little blurb about them. 1 Chronicles 24, David divides Aaron's descendants into 24 priestly courses to serve in the rotation at the temple. In chapter 28, he gives instructions for how the priests and the Levites should carry out the service of Yahweh. And remember, that connects back to like the high priest having to come first. And so like the high priest would come first, and then the Levites would wait for them to begin. 2 Chronicles 18 says, Solomon upholds the division set by David, keeping the temple order intact. Chapter 23 of the same book, the priestly courses are active during the restoration under Jehoiada, the priest. Luke 1:5, Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, is noted as serving in the temple in the course of Abijah. Revelation 4, and immediately I came to be in the Spirit, and saw a throne set in the heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a ruby stone in appearance, and there was a rainbow around the throne, like an emerald in appearance. And around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, dressed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. And out of the throne came lightnings and thunders and voices, and 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim. And when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set-apart ones. Revelation 7 connects, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, Deliverance belongs to our Elohim, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb. And all the messengers stood around the throne, and the elders, and the 4 living creatures, and fell on their faces before the throne, and worshipped Elohim. Revelation 11, and the 24 elders sitting before Elohim on their thrones fell on their faces and worshipped Elohim, saying, We give you thanks, O Yahweh El Shaddai, the one who is, and who was, and who is coming, because you have taken your great power and reigned. Revelation 19, and the 24 elders and the 4 living creatures fell down and worshipped Elohim who sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came from the throne saying, Praise our Elohim, all you, his servants, and those who fear him, both small and great. My current line of thinking is that the 24 priestly courses could potentially be tracked and correlated with the 24 lunar stations, reflecting a deeper celestial priestly connection. This aspect of research is still very much in progress, as recording and analyzing long-term data to find accurate correspondences is extremely time-consuming. I remain open to collaboration and would welcome any brethren who feel inspired to explore this concept further alongside me. Together we may uncover more of the harmony between Yahweh's appointed service on earth and the order of the heavens. Wisdom of Solomon 7 says, "It is he who gave me true knowledge of the forces of nature, what the world is made of, how the elements behave, how the calendar is determined by the movements of the sun, the changing seasons, the constellations, and the cycles of years." So in summary, Polaris in the northern sky, Polaris marks the north, his abode of glory, and the Big Dipper rotating around it, showing seasonal changes. The 364-day solar framework, the year is structured around the sun's annual journey with a set-apart day, the head of days, marking the start/end, 365/0. The 12 ecliptic constellations, the sun's path through these constellations divides the solar year into 12 months. The lunar stations, the moon moves through fixed stations in the stars, creating a lunar cycle that serves as mile markers within the solar year. The daily and seasonal order, the sun, moon, and stars all move in consistent, predictable patterns reflecting Yah's design and the sacred order of creation. In the integrated cycles, solar, lunar, and stellar cycles work together, giving a complete view of time, seasons, and sacred days. Here's a beautiful chart that Natalie made, and you can fill in the dates of the year. She had a version of this with the dates for this year and then for next year. But she took them out so that we could offer you a template for that. So here's the cycle of years. And you can ponder these dates a little bit as I read Enoch 5. Says, "Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed, and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. And all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him and their tasks change not, but according as Elohim hath ordained, so it is done." And so, just as the Levites waited on the high priest, the chiefs of the stars and the luminaries wait on the head of days before beginning their circuit again. And so I have recorded here the 364th day in the north, where the sun is half up and half below the horizon. And then I recorded the leap years as the Son of Man. The head of days comes after either the 364th day or on the leap year after the Son of Man. Is the head of days is the divider between the years. And he is the divider because he is the set apart one. We should set apart the preeminence of Yah, since he is before all things. And by him all things consist. They're all held together. So day 1 comes after the head of days, which for 2025 is revealed to us as the first day of the solar year, as March 20th this year. The Sabbath is on Gregorian Sunday, and tomorrow begins the Feast of Tabernacles. The first Sabbath of the year is the 4th day of the year, and I recorded those as well, just so that you will be able to calibrate more easily, I guess. When men set their own thresholds and posts, they are establishing ordinances determined by themselves, not by Yahweh. This is the rebuke given in Ezekiel 43. In the setting of their threshold by my thresholds, and their posts by my posts, and the wall between me and them. They have even defiled my holy name by their abominations that they have committed. Wherefore I have consumed them in my anger. Now let them put away their whoredom and the carcasses of their kings far from me, and I will dwell in the midst of them forever. The Septuagint gives further clarity to that first verse, verse 8, and I'll read it in that verbiage. When they set my doorway by their doorway, and my thresholds near to their thresholds, and they made my wall as if it were joining myself to them. And they profaned my holy name with their iniquities which they wrought, and I destroyed them in my wrath and with slaughter. The luminaries were created as a service unto men, and so the 364 days is the sun's service unto men. The 365/0 is the head of days of Yahuwah as the set apart one, as the preeminent, as the Aleph and the Tav. Yahuwah is set apart from his creation. Human ordinances cannot replace or imitate his divine order, and they cannot replicate his nature. In contrast, Yahuwah gives his own ordinances and patterns to be followed. Ezekiel 43:10, Thou son of man, show the house to the house of Yasharel, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and let them measure the pattern. And if they be ashamed of all that they have done, show them the form of the house, and the fashion thereof, and the goings out thereof, and the comings in thereof, and all the forms thereof, and all the ordinances thereof, and all the laws thereof, and write in their sight, that they may keep the whole form thereof, and all the ordinances thereof, and do them. The sun returning to and going forth from the north, the chamber which the bridegroom goes forth from, is an ordinance regarded as Yahuwah's threshold, and the 6 gates of the luminaries move through are his posts. So threshold means a vestibule, a limit, a doorway, and a post is a doorpost, the side post, something set prominently. Yahuwah's order is perfect and set apart. To align with him, we must reject self-made ordinances and embrace his divine pattern, his nature, allowing his truth and light to guide our lives. When we consider Yah's luminary calendar, we see more than a method of tracking days and seasons. We see his nature revealed in the order and design of creation. The sun, moon, and stars move in precise, predictable cycles, reflecting his faithfulness, consistency, and wisdom. Each set-apart day, the stations of the sun and moon and constellations demonstrates purpose and intention, showing that time itself is woven into the character of Yahuwah. By observing and aligning with these sacred cycles, we honor the Creator and gain insight into his eternal, life-giving nature. Isaiah 59. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahuwah. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. All right. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Good job.
Beautiful.
Very,
Like,
very
too.
beautiful. Praise Yah.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
was
it was
beautiful.
so easy to understand and follow. That's the beauty of it all, too. Praise Yah.
But do you see the intricacies of it all? Like, I'm not talking about you, but like everyone, do you see the intricacies of everything and how it's all woven in? And
Yes.
yeah, it's all scripture.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
You know what I noticed? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee.
Um, coming out of winter, and that separation going into the 364, that reminds me of coming out of light. I mean, out of darkness into light, like winter's darkness,
Right.
and coming into
Right.
the spring, which is light. And the analemma reminds me of the sand timer, where you got the sand in the top part and it goes through
Oh
the
yeah.
center part, drops down into the bottom,
Yeah.
and it just gets faster and faster as it gets to the end, like kind of like a spiral, because you'll see that sand spiraling in there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like to see Yah's nature, like reverberate through all of creation and like everything. I mean, even like our fingerprints, it shows Yahweh's nature, our DNA. Like if you ever looked at the DNA and it has that 10-5-6-5, Yahweh's hand is written all over it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to open the floor for questions if anybody's been writing things down, if there's anything you've not been able to cross off your list. There's a lot of people in
Oh,
here, so
Marrisa, let's cut to the jugular right now.
go ahead. What's
The
the
moment of how we decipher this calendar. So she laid out all the framework, which is fabulous, but how do we apply it now? So we see that Yahuwah is the beginning and the end. And so he is that 365th day, which turns into 0 because he counts starting with 0. But he is what holds the first day and the last day together. And
Yeah.
so when we are doing the calendar, she has found that the equinox actually was on March 19th this year. And so when I know that's, and she could go into more detail on that,
Yeah,
but
we
it
can
was
talk about that.
Yeah, so it was the 19th this year, which it would make the 20th day 1. So we are following the correct format, but we just have to recognize that the 19th was the equinox, the 20th was the day 1, and we're still on the correct Sabbath, which is on Sunday.
Yeah, so let me add a thought in there. So the course of the path of the sun does go around the earth, and so there will be a place that's first, and there will be a place that is last before the date changes. And where that line goes out first gives us that equinox day. So it's not always going to be the 19th because it's where the line goes out. On those old maps, there's actually a line that extends out from the center of the earth and goes outwards. I don't know if like that 6 hour, like that 0.24 day, like that's what shifts these quarters. That may be true, but again, that's the sun's path going around the world, and that's why understanding the north holds so much significance, because it's no longer about that like eastern sign, or at least the day before, sorry, the day that the sun moves into the north connects with the day that the sun shines that straight line shadow from the east. And so it's almost like encrypted in that line. The sun traverses through the north in order to return to the east. So it's not making the north first per se when you think about like cardinal direction on the earth, because the sun does rise in the east on that day on that 90-degree line and makes this straight line shadow, but it coincides with that day that the sun moves northernly in its altitude. And so I know like the great debate has been, is it where we are or where Jerusalem is? It's where Mount Zion is. That's what it is.
Hallelujah.
It's where his
So,
throne is.
Marissa, so when you say where Mount Zion is, I'm sorry, it was a lot, guys, and I was driving, so I didn't get to write down notes, but is physically here on Earth or above? Were you
Both, because Mount Zion stretches to the heavens. So it's in the center of the earth at
So,
the quote North Pole.
right, it's in the north. Yeah.
in the north on the physical land and
Yeah.
upward?
The
So,
center of the earth.
so when we're
The
tracking
north. So at the North
this,
Pole?
the straight line shadow, we should be pointing our sundial or whatever we're going to use toward the Polaris, correct?
Yeah.
Would it be Polaris?
It
Okay.
should be level. Yeah.
Level and pointed at the true or Polaris.
Yeah, because remember, all compasses do point north.
They do. Someone was telling me, this was a while back when I got that Qumran sundial, to point it to the east. I couldn't remember who told me that, but I thought we were supposed to point it to the North Star.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just double checking.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I was wondering, does anyone live near Utah or Mount Zion there? That'd be interesting to get a timeline from there.
Well, couldn't we track the coordinates, the latitude with Utah, Marissa? Or
So, all right. So I'm noticing that the closer you are in latitude to the north, the more accurate that straight line shadow is going to be. So, like for Natalie, she's in Iowa and her latitude is probably 40.
right, I'm 42.
Yeah. So hers is
Yeah.
probably 40 because she's above me and mine's about 38. So, and she got the 19th at 38 degrees latitude. I got the 19th on my board as well. But Jerusalem is at 31. So it is
It's lower.
further from the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is also, Faith Child has found that Jerusalem is at the end of the 24-hour solar day.
So where we were trying to do Creation Week, and we were using the equinox, equal day, equal night in Jerusalem as our divider. But that's not the case, because that is, it's not a complete 364 day. It's merging into the 364 cycle. And so it's a circuit. So we can't be breaking into that. So the divider has to be 365. That's the problem I had with Ezekiel's key, is because the last thing that like kind of we were going over is 365 doesn't come before 364. So we can't be using equal day, equal night in Jerusalem anymore, because the equal day, equal night is before the straight line shadow.
Yeah. And he's the set apart one. He should be the one that is, and he should be, but we should recognize him as, because he is outside of time.
So, are you saying that the straight line shadow day is, I'm sorry, day 1 or in
No,
between 364 and 365?
the straight
It's
line shadow is day 0.
Okay.
It's the division.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
in
so
It's
it'll
between.
be,
after 364 and before
yeah.
1.
Yeah, so it'll be
Okay.
364, 0, then 1 again.
So straight line shadow day is 0?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you start counting 1 of creation week, or is
No.
that
Oh,
day
no. Because
4?
in the Dead Sea Scrolls it says that the first day is the 4th day of the month.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I got to wrap my brain about the
No,
first
the
day. Say that again,
the,
Katrina.
the because
Fourth
it's
day of
going like it's day 3 on 364, and then you have the division of time, and then you have day 4, and because that's when the sun, the moon, and the stars were made, and
Right.
so it is day 4 on the first day after the equinox. That's how we hold our Sabbath,
Okay.
But
So
which is 3 days later.
but creation week didn't have a separation in it.
That's not the
Right,
standard.
but
Day 1 through
it's
3
not. Yeah,
happened before time began. Time began being reckoned on day 4.
Life also
yeah,
you want
begins on day 4.
I'm
to.
following. Sorry.
So you're saying that creation week did have a split, which would be the divider day, which is the equinox.
Yes, that's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, let
Okay,
me put
What
so
he's
this.
saying. Is that
Let me
correct, guys?
hold on. No,
Show
guys.
the
Let me put that
visual. Show
visual
the
up.
visual. Yeah,
Yeah, hold on.
so
of the loop.
the equinox, which is day 0, is neither day 3 or day 4 of creation week.
Correct.
Correct.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
why the Sabbath is remaining what we originally thought it was, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
Because of the straight line shadow coming in on the 19th instead of the 20th.
Yeah,
We
Sarah,
were
look at
thinking
this.
that it was the 20th. Wait,
Yeah, didn't a lot of
Marissa.
people get the
We were
20th?
Yeah, this is what I just want to make sure that people understand is that because of the international dateline, whatever, people like were going off of the 3/4 of the world, but it actually has to do with your longitude and latitude of where you are at, not.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Marissa? Is that's
Yeah,
more
like
of
your
a
latitude
okay?
being closer to the north is going to give you a better accuracy for that
Correct.
straight line shadow.
Yes. It's what so I'm at I'm at like 40, 41, so I'd be able if I
Yeah.
was to track it, if I didn't have a tree like in front of my house, I'd be able to track it and get the straight line shadow on the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. So look at this picture, guys.
Oh, this is big.
Yeah, I'm not forgetting Creation Week, but it's that Creation Week already happened. There's nothing to suggest that we're supposed to annually rehearse this, because if he wanted us to rehearse day 1, 2, 3, he would have put the sun and set it forward on day 1, but he didn't. He did it on day 4. And
Correct.
so the sun has a 364-day circuit, and so it will begin on day 4 of the week and it will end on day 3 of the week. And then because he is the preeminence before all things, before those first 3 days of the creation week, the glory is really his. He's the one that holds all these patterns together in nature and also in the yearly cycles. So on this spiral, you can see on the 4th day of creation week, the sun begins its path and it loops all the way around. And then you can see number 3, which is day 364. But before it can continue into the next spiral, we have the head of days holding those together. Because if he didn't, it would abruptly stop. and it would not be perpetual. And he is infinite. He is eternal. And so he is that synestomai, that all things consist through him. He binds everything together, and then the next spiral begins on day 4.
I see what you're saying, Marrisa. So maybe if my brain is thinking correctly, we shouldn't be using the word creation week.
Right.
And where my mind is going is that when we look at this picture, 1, 2, and 3.
It's outside.
So it would number 3 would be 364.
Yeah, the third day of the week.
With every loop, do you see at every loop there's a 3, and then it breaks into the 4, so it would be in between 3 and 4.
Right.
I know it's really hard to see. You kind of have to blow it up in the picture.
Yeah, I am, and I'm starting to see it. The way my mind is figuring it out is that right. So day 3 is, the orange.
The
3
last
is
day of the year is day
4.
Yes. Last day of the year is on day 3. Look it says so it says 364 on day 3, and then day 4, number 1. You have to blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, I can. I'm on my phone right now. It's not going enough.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Hey, Marrisa.
What if I blow it up? Would that work?
Yeah. So the head of days. So we were thinking the head of days was the start of the year, the equinox. But the equinox is the head of days, but it is not the start of the year. The next day is the start of the year.
Yes.
The 364 cycle.
Yes, it's the day at a time.
Yeah.
Hey, Marrisa.
Yes, Lee.
How does that work if the equinox moves a day forward every year?
They have the equinox, or they have the everything tracked in all the leap years. So
the leap years happen.
It's not that it moves forward every year, it's the Gregorian that shifts forward, right, Lee?
Yes, I understand that. But even if you were on a Gregorian and you were counting 365 days, it would still be jumping a day forward to every year if you had a 365. So if it's a 364, it's still going to be jumping forward. I mean, the Gregorian calendar is 365, we know. But even if you had a 364, let's say you count 365 days and then count 364 days, it's still the equinox still moves every year forward. Sometimes 2 days, sometimes what? Yes, it does.
It'll produce the leap year. Mm-hmm.
They have the leap years.
It will move forward. It will move forward every year. Every year it does. Like if you're going, just think of a 365 day. Okay. Let's just look at the solar cycle for a minute. So if it's 365 and it moves a day forward on a 365, and it does, then how would that work just doing by 364? That's the only question I got.
Lee, it's not. No, the head of days is the day at a time. So we got 364 days, and then the equinox day happens, and that's the day at a time, and then you begin your count again the next day.
Well, Marrisa, why is the head of days on, now that you've blown this up, looks like the head of days is before day 1. Is that day 1 of creation week or day 1 of the 364 cycle?
Day 1 of the 364 cycle. We need to throw out the term creation week because I think it's just going to confuse all of us.
Okay. So the wheel in a wheel, the multiple wheels concept, we just need to get that out of our head.
Take it out.
That's what I told Aaron Ryan. There's no wheel within a wheel. There's one circuit. And I love the way that Marrisa explains it. Yeah. It's perpetual. and it's like a roller coaster, and then you come back to the center and recalibrate, and people get off and on.
Yeah.
But it's not two
It's
wheels.
a circuit. It's
Like
continuous.
Wait,
yeah, it's not the
so
way
we're
we were
looking at
doing it.
this diagram and it says head of days. And
Yeah.
from what I understand from your presentation, you're saying that is Yah's, that is Yah.
Being.
He is the head of days, right?
Yes.
But is that
So do we?
in this picture, you're saying that comes before day one? Or I thought you were saying that is the straight line shadow.
Correct. Both.
Yeah, that's correct.
But oh,
Yep.
so is this just where you have it before number one, Marrisa? Are you saying that it comes before day one, or are you just having that there as a logo? I don't know what word I want to use.
No, that's
No,
fine.
it's true, Lisa. Like, so, for example, the equinox being on the 19th this year, and then the next day was the 20th, is day one, and then you go all the way around, and then day 364 is now
Oh my gosh.
whatever that day is. I don't. I need a calendar to look at it. I have the other chart. What, like, are you guys?
My
all
brain
right?
is.
Flip to the other chart.
I guess what I'm not understanding is that the straight line shadow comes between day 3 and day 4, and we said that was the head of days.
It's the day at a time. It divides the years and holds them together at the same time.
Okay. Lisa, I think that was my question. It comes between day 3 and day 4, but that's day 3 and day 4 of creation week.
No, of
not
the week.
The 3 of the week, not the 364-day year cycle.
Right. And if I'm looking at this diagram, that's what I'm seeing, and I could be wrong and my brain's not wrapping it, but because I hear
guys, we're so confused with the two different cycles, and it took me a while to recalibrate. Right, it caused it so much confusion. It looked nice, it made sense, and trust me, I had a battle out with Erin Ryan about it, and she still, like, she only watched 20 minutes of Marissa's presentation, and she was just like, no, there has to be two cycles, there has to be two wheels. We have to alt-control delete that from our minds, because it hurt my brain to recalibrate over to what Marrisa is saying. So literally, it's so simple. It's not as complicated as our brains once knew. It's so much more simple. It's day 3. Okay, that's 364. Day 0 and day 1, and that's the fourth day.
Day 0 is head of days, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in my head, this little sun thing you have here, Marrisa, that says head of days, to me, I want to move that in between day 3 and day 4. Am I incorrect in thinking that?
Well, it is. It is.
Maybe I can make a quick suggestion.
Okay.
Because we do see there is Ancient of Days and Head of Days. And maybe Ancient of Days would be a better placeholder for where you have that first Head of Days, and then Head of Days for the rest.
I kind of like that.
Because that's signifying Yahuwah and Yahuwah himself. And then Head of Days is, of course, a representation of Messiah as well, who is Yahuwah in the flesh.
Yeah.
So you would have two of those sun little bursts then.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy. I didn't want to change the term because I think people are confused enough.
I do think it confuses a little bit more.
I don't know, guys. I just call it Abba's Day.
Abba's Day. That's good, Ellie. Yeah, it is. It
is. So if we were considering Creation Week, then the Head of Days, which is day 0, would be day 4 of Creation Week, but we need to throw out Creation Week because it causes confusion and it's not necessary to remember it. Do I have that correct?
Oh, no. That was a little harsh.
No. You have to throw the Creation Week.
I gotta start over.
Yeah, the Creation Week throw it out.
Yeah,
It already happened.
It already happened. We're moving forward. We're
It
many years
happened
away from
once.
creation week.
Marissa.
Yes, ma'am.
So guys, this is how it helped me. I had to kind of like rewrite month 12 after the 52nd Sabbath, okay? Which is going to be the 28th of the 12th month. Then we have day 1, which is the 29th, day 2, which is the 30th, and then day 3, which is the 31st, the 364th day. Then you have 0, and then you have the start of 1, 2, 3, but it's the 4th day. Does that help?
And Sabbath is always going to be the 4th day of the 364-day cycle.
Yep.
Oh, that's going to blow a lot of heads, a lot of minds, because everybody's so stuck on, it's the 7th day. Well, it is his 7th day, but
of the week. It's the 7th day of the week, but it's the 4th day of the month.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we have days of the week, and then we have the dates that go with it.
And it has to be that way because of Passover needs to be on the 3rd day of the week. So you cannot start your year off with 1 or like being on day 1. It has to be on day 4 for Passover to be on day 3.
Yeah, and like I see that, guys, because you're like, yeah, but like so he was before all things, and then there was one, the first day of creation week, 2, 3, but he made the luminaries on the 4th day. So time has moved forward from the 4th day of creation week, and so once you get to the end of the luminary service of men, the full 364, the recognized glue that holds the years together and moves into the next is Yah. He is the preeminence. We're not having to recreate creation week every year. Creation week gave us numbers 1 through 7. And so we're continuing that numbers 1 through 7 for 364 days, but beginning on the 4th day. And so you get to day 3, and then there is a day out of time in the solar year because we're supposed to only number our days 364. So really, the day out of time, the divider, if you will, and Yah's set apart day can only come after day 364 and before day 1.
And that's why I really like equinox 77, because it really hones in that everything goes to the north to pass away. Days, months, years pass away there in the 3rd part of the north. So that he can reestablish it in the east, which is the 1st. That's why it's called east. And it's just so beautiful. And then you see the entire cycle right there in equinox 77.
And that's what Ryan is having a problem with, correct, Miranda? She's saying that we want to...
She's saying that we're trying to make... Yeah, she's saying we're trying to make the north first. But we're not, because it does say that east is first. North is just where everything ends and gets set forth from.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
So that day that the sun traverses northward, now fully above that horizon line, is the day that it will cast that straight line. Like, think of it like it rises above that horizon line and then shoots a beam, puts its line straight out through all the earth. And that's our straight line day. And the sun has returned to the east. So those are coinciding like that. And the next day begins day 1.
That's it.
Because the next day, the sun is now back on the curve of time.
Right.
And the reason is the reason why the Sabbath then is on day 4 of the new year is because the creation week was already established, but we're not commemorating it every year because we don't need to.
Yes, because he already... Sorry.
It served its purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it served its purpose.
Boom.
Yep.
It's done. Now it's just a continual loop.
Yeah, and it has to
And that's
start from the fourth day because that's when the timekeeping devices were created.
And when life started, because you have, so remember, he had the, he separated the waters and the earth on the third day and established all the seed and the Garden of Eden. And then when the sun, when he set the sun in the underneath the firmament on the fourth day, life was able to shoot up from the ground. So we do have life starting on the fourth day. Now, not the breath of life, but we do have growing seed that is able to shoot up out of the ground.
Yeah, because the sunlight is there.
Yeah. And then the next day after that, then you start to have the birds and the fish, and then so on and so on. But life starts on the fourth day.
Yep.
Now, not only that is that we can see the moon and the stars witnessing to this.
Yep.
And so when the luminaries are to set the years, it's true.
Yeah.
Like the sun is the ultimate, but the stars and the moon do witness. And we have the proof of that with the correlating measures between the equinox and the go ahead, Marissa.
And the north.
Marissa.
And the north. And, you know, and like this one brother I was talking to, Micah, I spoke to him about this, like the equinox. I'm like, well, you know, different parts of the earth, you know, that because of the way the sun traverses around and around like that, you know, the international dateline, it's not always the same. And he's like, well, you know, I think we all have to agree on the centralized point of reckoning time. And all throughout Scripture, we're seeing that the north is Yah's throne, that the north is Mount Zion, and this is in the center of the earth. And so we should look at that, because that, when we did look at that, that was consistent. That was the same. And what the sun is doing is not going to lie there, because it's the centralized point. The sun moves around and around it.
So explain the significance of the camp of the saints being there in the north. I mean, I believe that because
I was just going to say, Marissa, hone in on the little season aspect of it.
You know what? It is the camp of the saints. Mount Zion is the place that he gives to the righteous, set apart ones. It is our inheritance, and it is hidden from us currently. That is why there is a magnetic north, because that mountain is magnetic, and that is where they come from with black rock. That is why, and that is why Santa's in the North Pole. It's all mockery of Yahweh's set apart place. Now the camp of the saints, it's a term that I heard, and what's wild is that was not, like, just to bare my heart for a moment to you, family, that was not a topic that I was particularly interested in. I thought it was kind of like a little out there. I've seen people be a little crazy with that concept, and so I just kind of stayed away from it. And I've always said, well, I'm just more interested in the calendar.
They took it too far. Sometimes.
They took it too far, yeah. And so oddly enough, in all the research on the calendar here, it affirms the camp of the saints. And
it's like there's an
set apart place in the north.
Yeah. Well, it seems like there's an intersection there.
There is.
Why don't you get into the mountain?
And it makes sense because, you know, that's exactly where they would have it. And
yeah, it's alluded
what about those
to
7 mountains?
Hold on. It's alluded to in a lot of things too, right? Like that's that Hegelian dialect, like everything's hidden in plain sight. And I thought about it. What
Yeah.
about Frozen 2, where she's talking about the North, all in Frozen 2, and singing all about it, or like Santa, or in the Lord of the Rings, Erebor, they're going to the mountain. Like it's alluded to through all these secular
So much
things.
predictive programming. Yeah,
Yes.
so much.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know we don't know, I don't know day or time when Yahusha's coming back, but does this at all point to what day of the week he might be coming back? Or no, am I just thinking crazily here?
I kind of speculated that with Marrisa a little bit earlier.
Okay, so I'm not thinking, all right, so other people had this thought. It's not just me
Yeah.
going, well,
Yeah.
maybe just make some sort of significance to that in some
Yeah.
way. Don't know.
Yeah.
And that when we're all then drawn,
He comes back on a day or an hour, like no one knows. And
right.
why don't they know it? It's because, you know, maybe they're not looking at the calendar the way
They're
that
not
they're
looking in the
supposed
right
to.
place.
Correct. Yeah.
So you think that we'll all be drawn to this magnetic north when that time is coming nearer?
Yeah, so think of this. Remember, it says that he gathers the nations to make war with the camp of the saints. Okay? So all of everything that's been happening has been, for a lack of a better word, gathering the people to deceive the people to make war with something they don't understand. I mean, again, like we talk about the shape of the earth, we talk about, you know, the Gregorian system we've been in. Every single thing that we have been lied to about is shaping us to fall for the delusion of who is going to be revealed and the need to
That
fight
just gave me
him.
chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah.
And
And
the need
so
to fight him.
right.
Because
And
the whole world will be
yes.
suffered unto wanting to fight with the camp of the saints.
Yes.
But we are being pulled in that magnetic north almost. And
well, you know,
we're being
everything
drawn to that.
Everything that has been will be again. And, you know, in the millennial reign, they were commanded to go to the city for Sukkot. And the nations that did not, that disobeyed, they wouldn't get rain for 1,000 years. So you look at how many huge deserts are across our world now that used to be lush green places on ancient maps. They were lush green places that are now deserts. And so there were a lot of nations who ignored that. And so, you know, we've speculated, well, where was the city during the millennial reign? Well, it must have been up there at the north. And so everyone that obeyed Yahuwah would travel to the north. And so I think it was Lisa, you know, asked, are we going to be drawn up there? It looks like possibly so. That's where we'll be drawn because it happened before. If they were drawn there before and they were commanded to go to that city, and back then, you know, transportation was probably a lot better than it is today. We think that, you know, things were so primitive, but I think we're living in primitive times.
We're de-evolving.
Is this
yeah, for sure.
Camp of the Saints then? The magnetic place where the gate, that one video you shared with me, Katrina, where she says that like that land between, we say, Alaska and Russia, that
the Bering Strait,
or is that the gate line or date line that she was saying, where that land has kind of been hitting, or they erased it from the maps?
Yeah,
they did.
Because how many
Where
timelines
is
are in that place? I think 7 timelines.
3 time zones.
3 time zones. Yeah.
Time zones. Yeah.
There should not be 3 time zones according to our current maps, but there is. So they're hiding a lot of land up there, which, you know, Trump's been wanting to obtain Canada and Greenland, probably so that they can gain control of that land.
Yes.
And there is a a border. It's not a physical border, but it is a international border that you can't go past. I forget what it's called, but they won't let people go up there. And so I think the elites obviously know there's land there that they're not letting us know is there. Anyone who has not watched that video from Leaving Babylon, it's
Yes.
about the straight is the gate, straight is the narrow way, and
Yep.
the camp of the saints. She's found a lot of information by studying ancient maps. I'll post it, or have you already posted it, Katrina, in the Telegram group?
Which one?
The one by Madeline about from Leaving Babylon.
The land of Jesus,
Go
but
ahead
we'll
and
just say
repost it,
Yahusha.
please repost it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, even in the north, so like shipping routes, flight paths, all these things, they go around a certain longitudinal line.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
you're
they
not allowed to
can't
go
go
past
over
it.
Mount Zion.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. And
That's
it's
a
the
good
same thing
point.
in the south.
Yeah,
It
and
would probably mess up their navigational systems.
well, they can't go over it because it extends to the heavens, and like
Ah,
that was the whole thing with the Tower of Babel, right?
well, it's
They're
Satan's
trying to make it
counterfeit.
reach the heavens.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that
So
the
Mount
same
State.
place, the ice wall? Is that considered the
No.
same? No.
No,
Okay.
so that's Antarctica. Antarctica is the ice wall. The Arctic Circle, I guess, would be more of like the correct term for the northern part there.
And that's
And
where
there,
that
that
big
treaty
black
is.
mountain is.
I believe so. Because
Yes.
there is an Arctic treaty and then there's an Antarctic treaty. And coincidentally enough, all these nations that supposedly fight and can't get along, yet they can make treaties with each other about boundaries of where we, the common people, can go.
So why would they not let us go there?
Oh, because they say it's dangerous.
I mean, but what's hidden there? If
Well,
like,
we just
yeah,
explained it. It's that mountain
so
in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the south, they're hiding the firmament.
Yep.
Yep. The
Yeah.
bounds of the firmament, yeah.
Yeah. It's all to hide Yah.
wow.
Yep.
All of it.
You know, that's why the flat earth is so important, and also the calendar. You know, a lot of people say, well, it's not that important. I think it's way more important than we've realized.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
they're hiding Yah, and a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. I mean, look how
Yep.
many people this past week thought they were going to be raptured. They gave away their homes,
Yeah.
their vehicles, quit their
Yeah.
jobs, and they're just absolutely falling apart now because their lives are destroyed because of their foolishness and because they believe the lies. And so
Yeah,
truth
and they
is
will
so
lose their
important.
faith. Yeah. And they're losing their faith because they thought something was going to happen that isn't, because they misrepresented or misread scripture and listened to those that also misread scripture. And this is where the wolves in sheep's clothing come in and everything.
Speaking of the falling
But-
away, that's
Yep, the falling away. Absolutely.
Yeah. all part
wow.
of the
This was
plan.
great.
And a little testimony also to biblical cosmology. So here in Arizona, we can see when, Elon Musk launches his rockets.
Ooh.
And guess what they never do? They never go straight up.
No.
Nah.
They go
Wow.
across the
Do
horizon.
they curve?
Yeah, they curve down across the horizon.
Yeah.
And so,
Which is funny because that's the Disney logo too, Jeremy.
yeah.
The star going over the castle in the beginning of the introduction.
And Paramount's logo is the mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Hidden in plain sight.
So
Yep.
Jeremy, you were talking about in Arizona you can see Elon Musk?
Well, when he launches his rocket, so I have a picture of it.
Okay.
And I was on I was talking to Katrina that night. I showed her the video of the trail it left,
Wow.
I guess, because the trail stays like
Oh,
lit up.
that
It's
is weird.
strange. Yeah, and it lingered for like 30 minutes. But anyways, we saw it launch, or we didn't see it launch, but we could see it in the air. And Callan, my son, was the first one to point it out. He's like, "What is that?" And I looked, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, it's another one of those Musk rockets." And we sat and watched it, and he was like, "How come it's not going straight up?" I'm like, "Yep, that's." I was like, "That's exactly what I was about to ask," because, and I asked him right after that. I was like, "So does that look like it's going up into space to you?" He said, "Nope."
Yeah. Jeremy, can you check the Telegram chat and see if anybody's like put any questions in there or anything?
So then, according sorry,
Marrisa, I have a question for you since the cycle of years is up.
Yeah, who's that? Who's talking?
This is Greg.
Ray.
On the Gregorian year, the leap year was 2024, and on this cycle of years, you have the leap year on the 26th, which makes the Sabbath on a Tuesday next year. I just wondered how you figure on that loop thing you had. Should the fourth loop have the leap year in it or not?
Yeah. I would say it does. I don't think there was 4 loops there, and I don't think I added that in like before the 5th. But yes, because like the pattern is replicable. Like if you guys look at this, look at the head of days. I'll just use that as an example. It goes 20, 1919, 2020, 1919, 2020, 1919. So for 2 years, it'll be the 19th. For 2 years, it'll be the 20th. And then it just keeps like rotating. So there's a consistent pattern here. Like that 364th day in the north has a pattern to it. So like you'll see like it's like 319 2019, and then the 18th the next year, the 18th the next year, and then the 18th and the 19th, like that, and then the head of days. So it'll be 19 18 18 18 19 together. So and it keeps doing that year after year after year, that pattern.
So does this make? Did he say that the Sabbath next year will be on Tuesday?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, now I got to wrap my brain around that one because I'm not. It's not that so it's not Monday like we were thinking. Okay, so it'll be Tuesday.
Yes. Yep, it's Tuesday next year.
I got to figure out. I'm not connecting that yet with this pattern.
Take a picture of this one, Lisa. Take a picture of this, because I know everybody has schedules and everything, and I just felt like this was important to give you guys, like the next 5 years ahead of us, like when the first Sabbath of the year is, so then you can figure out those feast days and Sabbath days and everything.
Yeah, it's about that time we start getting self-sufficient and doing our own businesses and stuff like that, because relying on a Monday through Friday 9-to-5 job is not going to cut it with Sabbaths. So I know I've been learning how to plant and forage, and we could do stuff like that, but now's the time to really consider just trying to get out of those jobs. I know it's tough, but he gives grace and mercy, but it is
Ray,
what
did
it
I
is.
answer your question?
Pardon me?
Did I answer your question, Ray?
Greg.
Greg?
Yeah, I was just confused on like the Gregorian had the leap year on 2024, I believe, and you have it on 2026. How do you come up with the 2026 compared to theirs? I'm not sure.
So this is calibrated to what the sun's doing in the north, basically. Like you can see the 364th day in the north because the sun will only be partially above the horizon line. And then every 4 years, it will do that 2 days in a row where it is partially above the horizon line for 2 days in a row. So that's how you can know when the leap year is.
So pretty much, Greg, we're not doing like Gregorian weeks. We're not doing like the Gregorian leap days. They have it off. We're doing his leap days. We're doing his Gregorian, or no, we're doing his weeks, not the Gregorian weeks, essentially.
Yep, I understand that.
Yeah, Greg, another thing that kind of helped me with that is when, you know, again, when we think about the Gregorian calendar and the leap year, they count from January to January. And so every 4 years, you know, that February, they're just going to add a 29th day in it.
Yeah.
And we count from equinox to equinox.
Yep.
So, yeah. I don't know if that helps.
Yep, I was really happy to hear. I was happy to hear about the head of days 0. Now I got that completely. That's in my brain well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Does this mean that? Yeah, you know the calendar beads people are using. Does that still work?
The calendar beads? No, because they're putting the void day before 364. They're putting it on like 360.
Yeah, so Jimmy from Ambassador of Yah's calendar bead situation won't work. No.
Yeah, maybe somebody in our group can make their own beads, Katrina.
What about that pegboard?
Yeah, right.
Marrisa.
I didn't realize he was putting it before 364. I don't understand how.
Before he did make some beads that had it there. So there are older sets
Ones are
where he had
like
it there.
Jeremy, your calendar that you have, we have to reconfigure that? Like the paper?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna do that for us?
Yeah.
He will.
So it's going to be the same dates for the remainder of this year. So.
It'll be the same.
But what I don't know if you explained it or not, Marrisa. But can you explain more about how Jerusalem would be last on the with what you were saying? I don't know how to describe it. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So, I don't know if you guys know who Faith Child is, but he has been assembling all of the data from people about the equinox dates. And the first time I heard of him was at the beginning of this biblical year, where he was putting in all the equinox dates from across the world. But what he's been trying to do is figure out where that international date line is. Like, where does the sun's 24-hour day begin on Earth? And he, as far as I know, he believes it begins somewhere in Africa, which I don't know how many, I don't know like where on, like, say, like the Africa continent, where that line is drawn across. But what that really tells us is that Jerusalem is towards the end of the 24-hour period, at least, you know, within the last 3 or 4 time zones. I don't know where the time zones are divided, sorry, but that's why they would be at the end of that 24-hour period. So I don't know if that's just like for this year and like that international dateline moves a bit. It could. But yeah, and it only does that because like the sun has to enter in at some point into you know, like its next, you know, day, if you will. And that was kind of what Adrian's drawing was showing us, like how it'll move through the portals and it'll stay through in those portals for 30 or 31 days at a time. But there's like a connector line, if you will, into the next portal. So Yeah, that's just the theory on that. But Faithchild would have the best idea. I put it on him. He would have the best idea of where that international date line is. And I'm very curious about that as far as syncing it up with the head of days on this chart. Like which location is going to see the straight line shadow on the head of days on this chart. I want to know which location on Earth, like which quarter of the world is going to see these dates. And so maybe there is a pattern in that too. That would be cool.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And Sister Faith has a question here in the chat.
All right, what'd she say? Just because I have my screen share up.
So, for the moon, when we are able to see it in the daytime, though it's showing across the world, while it's day for us and night for them, is it like the sketch showing that the moon is in a specific portal highest north at that time? If you want to come up, Faith, then maybe feel free to ask.
I think the moon's going to be seen in front of that, like that position in the sky. You know, all throughout the world. Like when the location does see the moon, they're going to see it in front of that constellation. I don't know if I'm understanding her question correctly.
Yeah, I wasn't quite understanding.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're actually out, so that's what I'm trying to do with my chat. I'm sorry for the confusion. I'm asking, like in the daytime, when we, like the sun is out and we're able to see the moon, not when it's like new, but usually when it's full. The chart that you had where it's showing the sun's position and it's going higher north, which would be, directly above. It's more so how is it that we're able to see, thank you, how we're able to see the moon in the daytime where it's also showing like on the other side of the world at the same time where it's night for them. I'm just trying to understand the moon's location and which portal that we're still able to see the same moon that they're looking at, but it's nighttime for them, but we're able to see it. I hope that makes sense.
Well, I think that those moments in time are they're happening at the same time. It's just that the sun is not on this side of the world, so we don't see the sun. But if we're gonna see the same moon though. But the moon moves through the gates too, just like the sun does. So
just a lot faster.
Yeah.
Well, I meant through the constellations, not the gates.
Well, even
or is it either
gates,
or?
It does move through the gates faster
too. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it actually goes backwards too.
I think so too, because it talks. Yeah. So Enoch also talks about that she goes a very peculiar course, and she does she goes to and fro. She just goes to and fro, doing her thing.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully everybody's gotten a screenshot of this picture. Does anybody else have any questions?
Guys, now is the time. Don't hesitate. There's no stupid question. Just please lay it on air. Sorry.
No, or if you think of anything else later, you can always reach out to me.
Marrisa.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Lambton. I forgot about the chat. I would have posted this sooner. But anyone that thinks that this calendar doesn't regard Creation Week, because we start on his day 4 and our Sabbath is 3 days later, it is his Sabbath because he started it and we are observing it every single week. So are we not commemorating Creation Week every week?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to throw that out.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, just not like the restart of Creation Week, basically for like the beginning of the year. But yes, absolutely, we are still.
So it's still the 7 days of unchanging, cycle. However, it's not the way that we did it once when it came to the divider day before Creation Week, holding Creation Week, which made beautiful sense, but that's just not the way it is. So it's still Creation Week. There's still 1, 2, 3. He's the division. And then there's 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still 7 days continually. But there's a pause that separates day 364 and day 1, just like he separates the seasons with the intercalary days. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those intercalary days though are part of the service of man, because they divide the seasons for us, and the sun cycle is that 364 days for the service of man. So that's why that day in between 364 and 1 is that day out of time that's set apart, honoring Yahuwah and his preeminence before all things.
And with all due respect, with Jackson Snyder and the way that he did things, he was just pretty much, his method was that there is, a few different calendars, but there's a calendar that is just for the feasts, and that once that feast day is ended, that's when you just stop the calendar and you restart again. But again, scriptures say emphatically to make sure that the year is 364 days, not stop after the last feast and continue on to the next. And that's where I would disagree with our late brother, Jackson Snyder. Having the day 364 is essential to finding the division of time in day 1. So I just wanted to throw that out there too. That's really important.
Yeah, and to add what Katrina said, with the feast days and everything, Jubilees does say that his 7th day Sabbath, which we, do every week, is more important than any of the other feast days. They're all important, but he said that one, because it was the first one he ever established as a day of rest is more important. So yeah. And so, and that Sabbath we know is throughout the year, 52 Sabbaths in every year, 7-day Sabbaths in every year. So it's essential to do the years 364 days only with 52 weeks of Sabbaths in it. And that constitutes a complete and total year.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Marking our days off to 364, knowing where that 364 is, equal day, equal night, pretty much. And the division of time shows us day 1. And I think it's much easier. I think it's so more simplistic. I tried to, dumb down the 2 cycles for so long, and it really seemed easy for me, but it just wasn't the case. There was still the solar cycle that we needed to understand. And so it's important that, we don't set our ordinances. We have to follow his. And I think Marrisa has done a fabulous job of setting up his ordinances so that we don't have to rely on our own.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Hallelujah. And like just before we close, I just want to make a recommendation. Maybe you can adopt something I've decided to do moving forward, but in every concept that we hear or information we come across in situations in our life, in how people act, in the progression of our lives, just in all things, our moral compass needs to be, does this reflect the nature of Yah? And if it doesn't, then it's false or meant to misguide you or incorrect. Any one of those three. It needs to match the nature of Yah. If somebody's spirit does not align with Mashiach, then it's not the nature of Yah in how they're acting or speaking or being. And if a calendar concept requires a level of mental gymnastics and requires man's ordinances to make it, quote, right, then it's not the nature of Yah. The nature of Yah is cyclic. It continues for eternity.
It has to be so simple a child could understand it.
Yeah.
And we are all children, and we really have to stop making it so difficult on ourselves. You can take a look at the lunar phases. How ridiculous sighting a moon for months, depending on, other people, the land, all those,
Yeah. Is the
it's just,
barley ripe in Jerusalem?
right?
Let me look online.
No, it should be where we are at. And that's what I loved about when Marrisa came out and she said, well, I tracked the equinox and I knew the date, and she scrubbed it because she thought she was screwing up. She was second guessing herself, but she was right. She did it correctly. And, we can't second guess, of course, we all have times where we get like stubborn and prideful and, loud and whatever, but like, we really, we have to bring it back. Like I was just back and forth with Aaron Ryan, and the fruit of that was absolutely disgusting, absolutely putrid. And I want no part of it. But, I poked the sleeping bear, if you will, and she was really upset with me. And so,
You flipped her table, Katrina. She didn't
I
like
flipped.
that.
I did flip her table. I asked her a couple questions she couldn't answer. And so I said, just please just watch Marissa's video. And she got only through like 15 minutes of it. And today I watched that 15-minute mark. And if she would only just push through 10 more minutes, she would have gotten it. But she stopped because literally of her take on biblical cosmology, she just couldn't compute the situation of the North. And so that's why we kind of got into it today, and she challenged me to a duel, and I was just like, wow. I was just like, why couldn't we
Her
just
words,
go
not
back?
Katrina's.
Right. Her words, she challenged me to a duel, let's type out 10
Let's duke it
questions and
out.
So
Let's
she
duke it
doesn't.
out.
So she doesn't believe in biblical cosmology then?
No, the earth is round to her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're never going to see this truth if you believe
So,
in the globe. You won't see it.
see, Sarah? See? And so, like, my first reaction when, like, me and Marissa and Jeremy were talking about responding was just like, you know, we will absolutely, have this out with you when you see biblical cosmology, because that's literally what it's going to take. Otherwise, it's pointless.
Yeah, it's true. It's,
It
very
you
important.
we can't understand the North and the multifaceted 3D dimensions of the North and understand, because the way that she wants to do it, well, East is not last and North is not, whatever she wants to say.
Yeah, she gets stuck on the cardinal
Yeah,
points, like the 4 quarters, the
right,
cardinal, the transverse north. She is
correct.
stuck on that, and she
Yeah,
doesn't see it in 3D. She's like,
right.
you know,
Because she's not on that transverse, that flat plane. She's on that.
oddly
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. Ask her about Polaris, and then.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's too
um
But
bad.
yeah, so that's why, like, it got so heated. It's because I just started poking her in places that she didn't want to address inside of her spirit, I think. And so when she watched Marissa, because Marissa's presentation was so solid, so when she got to the 15-minute mark, it really hurt her soul because she couldn't get past what
yeah, we have to reserve the right to be wrong, and
always.
like what that really means is like you got to be able to hold space for people. So if you have a calendar concept in your brain and you want to hear somebody else out on theirs, you need
Yeah.
to be able to take your understanding and
Mhm.
literally set it aside and
Ooh,
step into their shoes for a moment, into their logic, and try to understand them. We
she's
can't.
incapable. She's not
Yes, she's
capable of that.
incapable of that. And we cannot come to each other and say, oh, let me hear you out. But then you just listen to respond.
Well,
You
that
just
that
listen.
happened. That happened with me and you. Remember when I was just like, "Well, what are we gonna do with Creation Week? Like,
Right.
what week of
It's
day
just like,
4?"
it's like Robert with those aha moments,
Yeah.
it's like stop, like
Right.
just set yourself, can you get out of your own way and set yourself aside for a moment and
Put
hear out
your
your brother or sister in Messiah and what they're trying to tell you, because you do not know everything.
Nope.
And I will just say, I don't know everything, guys. There are parts in this whole teaching that I shared where I was like, listen, I'm still searching this one out.
Yeah.
I would like help with that.
Yeah.
So I stood corrected on our
Yeah.
previous understanding. And like we have to be able to humble ourselves in
Yes.
that way. To
We
say,
Put our
gotta.
please,
freaking
Abba,
side.
correct me when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Because
Yes, which
we're never above error.
Never.
Never.
right. And if this experience taught me anything, it taught me that, we really have to be diligent in looking at each other's work too.
Mhm.
Because when we're staring at something forever and forever and forever, we don't have fresh eyes. We don't have a different
Fact checking
perspective.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fact
And
checking it.
we have, yes, and we are
But
all a
well,
body.
that's
And
the thing. We have to have more hands on deck for accountability. We can't be a group that says, "Oh, well, Jeremy is the leader, so we're just gonna like shimmy after everything that he says." No. Or Marissa is the leader now because she seems to have it figured out. No, we all have to have our oil, our lamps trimmed, our wick ready, our fuel. Like, we need to have everything ready. You cannot rely on just a group, an individual. You have to get this information for yourself. You cannot go and buy and trade this information. You cannot rely on other people. I relied on Erin Ryan for way too long. And it stops here. Cause and it's so crazy because I found her in so many different errors. And I was just like, I just kind of put it back. And like Jeremy's like, well, she's been tracking it for like so long. She has to be correct. But honestly, she's not. She's not correct. She manipulated data. She manipulates the scrolls. She uses extra biblical books. She manipulates like one of our main concepts of Enoch. And so honestly, guys, we have to be able to do the work ourselves. That's what I've learned. That's my journey. It's like Marrisa helped me walk through it because of the data that she preserved, that she literally walked us all through. I said, no, Marrisa, you're going to show me exactly what's going on. And she did. And so that's what it's going to take. When I went to Erin Ryan and I said, yeah, but the Dead Sea Scrolls doesn't say this. And you said it says this. And then she ignores you? No. We like that kind of stuff can't happen anymore. We have to be more diligent in fact checking everything because it is our own salvation. And this is our testimony, and we are the bearers of Yah's witness. Okay? So when we step out there and say, well, Sunday is the Sabbath this year, we are bearing his witness. We better make sure that it's correct. Because Ezekiel's key kind of had me, all right? I studied Ezekiel's key, but they were off. They were off. They're using the Gleason map a little.
Yeah, they're again, they don't understand like the three parts of the North.
Right.
So, like that's huge. Like
Mm-hmm.
understanding that and then like where North is
Yeah.
in reality.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest takeaway of all this. And so, my brother Micah, he said, we should all agree on some central point. That's the place. It's Mount Zion.
Right.
That's, Yahusha said, I go and prepare a place for you. He
Yep.
also said, my kingdom is not of this world.
Hallelujah.
So it is the guard of righteousness that comes down from the sagittal north, from northward onto that top of Mount Zion. It is the camp of the saints. It's all the same place. It's his throne. It's his abode of glory. This is it ripples throughout all of Scripture, and his nature does the same thing, and it ripples throughout all of his creation, and we can see those patterns and everything. It is so beautiful, guys.
I got the chills.
Yeah, and so I appreciate, especially like the last 10 people here listening to us talk. I really appreciate you guys hearing me out and holding space for me. I don't expect anybody to agree with me, but I do think that we should love our neighbor as ourselves, and we should hold space for each other and hear each other out. And if I do end up gaining some brothers on this journey with me on Yah's luminary calendar, then I'll be very blessed.
Praise Yahuwah. Yeah, thank you for coming and presenting. It was amazing. And we're almost at the 4-hour mark, 3.5, but we can close out in prayer if you like.
Sounds good.
If there's no more questions or anything.
Ooh, yes, Jeremy. And if I could just make one side note, if there are questions, we need questions. That way we can look for answers.
Yes.
There's so much that goes into this. Like Marrisa was saying, there really is so much more. Like I feel like we've just touched the surface with this. There's every day that I'm putting keywords into the Blue Letter Bible app to see what scriptures are being referenced, and it's amazing what comes up. Things that I've just never thought about before or honed in on before. So Guys, this is
Miranda, I was just thinking, just put a questions tab for in the group, and
Oh yeah,
just
that's a good idea.
only because like if you like private message like either one, I think it kind of robs us of like kind of considering all
Yeah.
the different things and kind of hashing it out all together. I would like this to be more of a group effort. You know, Marrisa did a lot of the work. Miranda and Natalie did a lot of the legwork. Now it's up to us to start taking accountability and to test it and to confirm it. I think a little bit more. We really have to be held accountable. This group is not hanging on Marissa's words right now. Just like hanging on Sean Griffin's word or hanging on Kingdom in Context.
Yeah.
We are a group of, we are going to test it out until we get it right. And it's called iron sharpen iron until we iron out all the cracks and crevices. And that's what I think that Marrisa did do. And that's what I love about this group, that, you know, we all gathered, is just that we are willing to test it all. If you could put aside the Sabbath day, look, your family, like the Saturn's Day Sabbath, and you're willing to dig, like that's super cool. But you don't sit by and say this is just too complex for me. No. He made it so easy. We were making it so hard. Really, we were. We were making it way too complex. And this is super, super easy. It's like a roller coaster ride. And it resets in the beginning.
Yep.
Day 3, day 0, day 4, the loop continues. It's really so easy. It's wonderful. So I think we should start a questions or comments tab of like, or what we could add to this, because I
Yeah, I
know
love
all
that.
of you have something to add to this, which would be phenomenal. I want this to be a group effort because we are a body
Yeah.
in this little season of deception. We
I have
are a body.
a
Go ahead.
suggestion. Like when we started our family 9 months ago, I think now, or 10 months ago, we just started to talk about like when a day began, right? I feel like when Jeremy
Well,
started presenting stuff, I'm just saying that, like, I feel like every time we got together on Shabbat, like we went over and over and over the like when a day began, or we started looking at a new calendar, because I think
kind
there's a
of.
lot of pieces here, right? Moon
Mm.
mansions or moon cycles and stars that and maybe it's Wednesday nights Bible study together, or this calendar study together instead of on Shabbat, or on Shabbat, doesn't matter to me, because I feel like I need to hear this like more than once tonight. It's a lot of information and I see it, but then there's so much more that I know I have questions about. You
You
know,
know
the
what?
8 hour glass, like if we break it down and can sometimes focus on just one aspect of it to really wrap our brains around it, like in a study where we break it apart, so to speak. I don't know, for me, because it's a lot all at once. I see the
Well, when you're
beginning, day one,
when
two, three.
Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're not really that focused, so like when you're in that realm of like you're driving or you're not looking at the scriptures, because we
Yeah,
have to
I
remember the
agree.
scriptures are a living word. So like when you go through this presentation, just be mindful of making space for him and having the Ruach present for you to be able to open the book, look through it, and then
Mm-hmm.
ponder it in your head and look at the words, because I'm
Sure.
telling you, you'll get more understanding. Because every time, like, I'm still listening to Marissa's first spiel.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Jeremy said that he's gonna put the presentation on YouTube, and I asked him to cut the Q&A part just to like, you know, make it a presentation only. So then like we can rewatch it and everything. But
yeah. I was gonna basically make it 2 parts, and part 1 the presentation, and then part 2 Q&A.
perfect. That would be great. That would be awesome.
So wait, so you cut it at after the presentation, and then you still have the Q&A?
Yeah, I have to edit it though because it's
Oh
just
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good then, because I think the Q&A is really, it's again
Yeah.
the jugular.
Yeah, it's
It's
important.
needed.
Yeah, it's important. But all right, I gotta get off here, guys. It was super nice to do this, and I'm looking forward to Sukkot and then also Shabbat.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. This was great.
let me say a quick prayer before everybody
Yes.
goes. If that's okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Father Abba Yahuwah, thank you for bringing us together in fellowship and understanding, and help us to recognize the areas that we personally need to work on and the areas we need to correct in things we've spoken or thought or believed in the past. And all praise to you, Father. You know, without you, none of us would have the strength or endurance. And, you know, all these trials and tribulations, they've only strengthened everything, you know, just like gold refined in the fire. And we appreciate everything you do. And we just ask that you please continue to guide us all. Help us to continue to work together and study things out together. And I pray it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let it be so.
Let it be so.
Amen.
All praise to the Most High.
Praise Yah. Thank you again so much, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Such a blessing.
Glad my family's all back together.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Sometimes there are
Sure.
sparks when our ironing is sharpening others. There's a
Hey,
little bit
Greg,
of
you
spark.
said it. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just
Mm-hmm.
remember, we are not butter knife people.
Yeah,
That's
thank you,
right.
Abba. Praise you. Praise your name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's good. So good.
Yeah. We'll have our fellowship tomorrow as well. But I'm
Okay,
not sure.
okay, for the high Sabbath. Nice. What
Yeah.
time, Jeremy?
I'm not sure yet.
All right, I'll play some
I'll figure
music.
it out.
There you
Sounds
go.
good.
We can start with music and shofar blowing.
Yeah.
Okay. Night,
All right.
guys.
Good
Shalom.
night,
Good night,
everyone. Love you.
everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom.